starting as a worker from Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51: The Story of Kakashi, Obito and Rin. You are. Hatake Kakashi's eyes trembled. Hatake Kakashi thought he should not have seen the mysterious masked man, but he felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. His brain seemed to be electrified and instantly stayed on the impression of a certain person. This intruder looked too much like his childhood companion. Obito. Hatake Kakashi murmured subconsciously. The painful memories that Hatake Kakashi once dared not recall pierced and drilled out like bamboo shoots after rain, from the time he met Uchiha Obito, until the two of them formed a team, until Uchiha Obito finally sacrificed and was buried by him. These past memories constantly impacted his brain and stimulated his nerves. The Uchiha boy who always smiled slowly froze in reality. A young man in his 20s. A short hair, a scar on the right face, and a strange Mangekyo Sharingan in the right eye. The left face was intact, but the left eye was an ordinary Sharingan. Hatake Kakashi couldn't believe that the person in front of him was his former companion, because the other party had two intact eyes. Although the two eyes were not symmetrical, Hatake Kakashi didn't dare to deny it easily, because the other party's appearance was really too much like Uchiha Obito when he was a teenager. If Uchiha Obito was still alive in this world, he must have looked like this person in front of him when he was 20 years old. Bastard brat! The mysterious masked man was still angry that his mask was taken off. The mysterious masked man never thought that a brat used a low-level wooden clone to directly break his proud Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique. The mysterious masked man had a mask covering his face, so he could pretend to be a big shot in the ninja world and use the name of that big shot to recruit people in the ninja world. After all, the real identity of the mysterious masked man was just an insignificant little man. The Moon Eye plan had not yet been officially implemented. Once his real identity was exposed, it would seriously affect his prestige. Even if he could solve it with the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, it would still cause a lot of trouble. When the mysterious masked man was very annoyed, he saw the stunned Hatake Kakashi in front of him. Kakashi. The mysterious masked man looked at Hatake Kakashi, and his face became even more angry. He stood up and kicked Hatake Kakashi in the chest, kicking him directly out. A vine caught Hatake Kakashi. Akihara Kagura seemed to know nothing and asked, "Captain Kakashi, do you know him? This person is from the Uchiha clan. Every time I mention you, he will call you a waste. Do you have any grudges between you?" Hatake Kakashi's palms were still shaking. If Hatake Kakashi was just a little suspicious before, at this time, Hatake Kakashi was almost certain that there was only one Uchiha involved in his life. Probably, maybe it's someone I know. A drop of cold sweat slowly appeared on Hatake Kakashi's forehead, and his eyes were fixed on the face of the mysterious masked man. "Obito, it's you, right?" "Humph!" The mysterious masked man snorted coldly. The man behind the scenes named Uchiha Obito had to choose to accept the reality that his mask had been exposed, but the anger in his heart became even stronger. "Did you recognize him?" "Kakashi, it doesn't matter if you still want to call me by that name." Uchiha Obito simply admitted his true identity and continued coldly, "Anyway, for me, the story of that name is a thing of the past." "You're still alive?" Hatake Kakashi stared at the other party in astonishment. During the Third Ninja World War, Hatake Kakashi took Uchiha Obito and another companion to carry out a mission, but their team suffered heavy losses. Hatake Kakashi's eyes were blinded by the enemy, and Uchiha Obito was buried by stones and was on the verge of death. Before his death, Uchiha Obito gave one of his Sharingan to Hatake Kakashi and asked him to take care of the other companion. Obviously, he had buried Uchiha Obito with his own hands on the battlefield of Shinobi Bridge at that time, so why did he come back to life at this time? Why did he wear a mask? Where was he all these years? What was his life like all these years? Why? Kakashi Hatake thought of many reasons in his mind, and asked tremblingly, "Since you are not dead, why didn't you return to the village?" "It doesn't matter whether I am alive or not." Uchiha Obito spread his hands and said indifferently, "But, that's right, you must be most concerned about this problem, if you have to say the reason." Uchiha Obito raised his arm and pointed at Kakashi Hatake. "Because you didn't save Rin." More cold sweat flowed down Kakashi Hatake's forehead. "Rin. Nahara Rin. Their other companion." Kakashi Hatake felt a little breathless. At this moment, Kakashi Hatake finally understood why Uchiha Obito would call him a waste every time Akihara Kagura mentioned him. Before his death, Uchiha Obito entrusted him to take good care of another companion, Rin. However, Kakashi Hatake did not take good care of Rin, nor did he watch Rin die. Instead, he killed Rin with his own hands. Hatake Kakashi recalled that he was awakened by a nightmare in the middle of the night, and remembered that he felt that he could not wash his palm clean no matter what because that palm pierced through Rin's chest. Who is Rin? Akihara Kagura suddenly asked this question, looking back and forth between the two people, as if he knew nothing about the past. By the way, Captain Kakashi did not save the person named Rin? That Uchiha Obito? Why didn't you save Rin when you were still alive? Konoha's ninjas are always late. Uchiha Obito's eyes flashed with pain. Konoha's ninjas are always late. Even the Golden Flash Namake's Minato, who was once the fastest ninja in the ninja world, would be late. Uchiha Obito, who was once a Konoha ninja, was also late that day. In his life, the day should not be late the most. This is my fault. Hatake Kakashi's voice was a little obscure, and when he spoke, people could even see his trembling nerves, but he was still trying his best to tell the truth. Rin, it's me, you killed her. Uchiha Obito told him the truth in a cold tone. Uchiha Obito stroked his eye sockets and continued coldly, I saw it, you killed Rin with your own hands. At that time I thought I was in hell. When Uchiha Obito arrived, he saw with his own eyes the moment when Kakashi killed Rin, and saw with his own eyes that his most trusted friend killed the person he loved the most. Hatake Kakashi's heart sank a little bit, and he stammered at the corner of his mouth and wanted to say something else. At that time, on Rin's body, no need to explain, and don't worry, I won't blame you anymore. Uchiha Obito may have vented his anger, his expression gradually became calm, and he said, if you have to say it, it's the fault of this world, the village, the ninja, the war, the dead Rin, you who killed Rin, and me who survived. Everything in this false world is wrong. First update. Akihara did nothing in this chapter. Just helped to give a few suggestions. Chapter 52. If I don't cooperate, you can't leave Konoha. This world is full of mistakes. Everyone is living like in hell because humans will inevitably be dominated by desires and interests. Disputes will never end, wars will never stop, and the tragedy that happened to Lin will always repeat itself. Even if Lin is resurrected at this time, what will happen? Sooner or later, Lin will be dragged into the war by the disputes between the great powers in this world. Uchiha Obito believes that his thoughts have long been beyond the ninja world, but the madness in his eyes is becoming more and more obvious, but he himself feels calmer and calmer. Only by using the Moon Eye plan to solve the root problems of this world and allowing everyone to not be dominated by their own desires can the fate of Lin be truly changed. I won't let Lin's story repeat itself again. Uchiha Obito stretched out his hands, as if embracing his mission. I will recreate a new world, a world where Lin can exist forever. Hatake Kakashi couldn't understand Uchiha Obito's madness. As a time traveler, Akihara Kagura knew Uchiha Obito's idea very well, and asked with interest, in short, it is to make the world peaceful, right? Then what plan do you have? Huh? Of course. Uchiha Obito's voice stopped abruptly. Although Uchiha Obito believes that the Moon Eye plan is a perfect plan, it may not be recognized by most people in the ninja world. Therefore, before the plan is implemented, no one must know the details of the plan. Even the Moon Eye plan needs to collect the tailed beasts. The strategy cannot be leaked at this moment, so as not to arouse the vigilance of the ninja world. Kid, do you want to get information? Uchiha Obito narrowed his eyes slightly. Not really. Akihara Kagura shook his head and even took the initiative to provide a plan to destroy the world. In fact, I have thought of a great plan to make the world peaceful before. As long as all the creatures in this world are eliminated, an empty world will not produce any disputes. Kid, your idea is too extreme. Uchiha Obito retorted coldly. Hatake Kakashi also felt that Akihara Kagura was a bit outrageous. This brat has really been staying with Shimura Danzo for too long, right? I've thought of another plan. Akihara Kagura frowned and proposed a reliable plan to eliminate humans. The resources of the ninja world are limited, but the number of humans is constantly growing. Sooner or later, the resources of the ninja world will not be able to provide for the survival of all humans. Regularly and randomly clearing out half of the humans in the ninja world can ensure that the resources of the ninja world are enough for the remaining humans to live a prosperous life. This plan is also extreme. Uchiha Obito interrupted Akihara Kagura's words directly and cursed contemptuously. You brat, do you only know how to solve problems by killing people? This brat named Akihara Kagura's thinking is too crazy. He always wants to solve problems by killing people? He has never seen any high IQ plans. Uchiha Obito has always believed that the Moon Eye plan will not be recognized by the world, but he feels that compared to Akihara Kagura's plan, the Moon Eye plan is simply doing charity. Akihara Kagura Hatake Kakashi couldn't help but want to hold his forehead. His old friend Uchiha Obito has become a little crazy, and why is the idea of his new subordinate Akihara Kagura even crazier? Doesn't your plan require killing people? Akihara Kagura tilted his head with some curiosity and asked, can changing a world be done without bloodshed and sacrifice? This time, Uchiha Obito did not refute. Not only did Uchiha Obito not refute, even Hatake Kakashi, who had been beside him, had to admit that what Akihara Kagura said made sense. But my plan doesn't need it, Uchiha Obito decided to explain. However, at this time, the pitcher plant monster that had been hiding underground finally couldn't stand it anymore, and hurriedly contacted Uchiha Obito, fearing that Akihara Kagura would get some information out of him. Don't fall into the trap of that kid. There was a hint of anxiety in the pitcher plant monster's voice. Obito, leave here quickly, other reinforcements from Konoha will be here soon. Uchiha Obito's face became a little ugly. Did he not want to leave? This brat named Akihara Kagura has already found the weakness of his eye technique, and there is even a wooden clone of him in his own space. The virtualization ability of the main Gekyo Sharingan cannot be used. Even fighting against Hatake Kakashi and Akihara Kagura, to Anbu, will take a lot of time. It may not even be easy to win. There is no way for him to get away easily. Uchiha Obito thought for a second. Uchiha Obito looked at Akihara Kagura and could only think of a trick to divert the trouble. Kakashi, let me give you a piece of advice. The brat next to you is very dangerous. When I came here, he wanted to kill Uzumaki Naruto secretly. Do I need to be sneaky when I want to kill someone? Akihara Kagura immediately retorted, and even took the opportunity to turn the tables. You are the one who wants to kill Naruto, right? You also killed Ryoma of your aim, and you want to put the blame on me. Don't you dare to admit this. Actually, Hatake Kakashi wanted to believe his old friend. But what Akihara Kagura said was the truth. This kid acted radically, shouting and killing everyone openly, and even dared to take the blame for killing the root. That black stick, wasn't it you who stuck it into Naruto's body? Akihara Kagura pointed at the black stick on Uzumaki Naruto's body and said coldly, if I hadn't just arrived here, I'm afraid Naruto would have been killed by you long ago. Whatever you say, Uchiha Obito felt that he couldn't explain it clearly. However, while Akihara Kagura was arguing and Hatake Kakashi was stunned, his body quietly turned into a space-time vortex. He wants to escape. Akihara Kagura reacted suddenly. Obito, don't go. Hatake Kakashi reacted immediately and jumped in the direction of Uchiha Obito, trying to stop his old friend. A vine came out from under Obito's feet. In order to prevent his body from being pierced by the vine, Uchiha Obito had to stop absorbing his body, and his body instantly entered a hollow state. In the mysterious space, Uchiha Obito's body appeared here in a hollow state. Akihara Kagura's wooden clone sat cross-legged on the floor of the mysterious space somewhat leisurely, supporting his head with his arms, and tilted his head to look at Uchiha Obito, who flashed into the space. Why didn't this wooden clone attack him? Uchiha Obito looked at this leisurely wooden clone in surprise. What do you think of my original body? Akihara Kagura's wooden clone asked with a smile, as if he had known the situation outside for a long time. Have the Anbu reinforcements that the original body is waiting for arrived? Uchiha Obito was about to say something. Oh, by the way, don't talk. Akihara Kagura's wooden clone interrupted Uchiha Obito and slowly ordered, no need to talk, just nod gently. I guess in your current state, if you say anything here, people outside can hear it. Uchiha Obito nodded gently. Then let's get down to business. Akihara Kagura's wooden clone blinked and continued, if my original body doesn't cooperate, it won't be easy for you to leave Konoha tonight, right? Second update, Akihara Kagura's story. Solve troubles for the boss. If there are no troubles, you have to solve them if you create troubles. Chapter 53 New Boss, I wish us a happy cooperation. This kid is really scheming. Uchiha Obito was somewhat inexplicably surprised. Because according to the rules of the ninja world, there is no communication between the clone and the original body. Only when the clone is removed can the original body get the news. When the kid used the wooden clone as a trap and was sucked into this space, did he already expect that this situation would definitely happen tonight? When did this kid know that his eye technique was in one space? Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone seemed to have guessed Uchiha Obito's thoughts, and asked with a smile, "You must be wondering how I cracked your eye technique, right?" Yes, Uchiha Obito nodded slowly. Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone raised a finger to his mouth and whispered, "Don't talk, so as not to be noticed that we are communicating here. I also need you to nod from time to time to send signals to the original body." Outside, Uchiha Obito could only nod. Akihiro Kagura looked at Uchiha Obito with satisfaction and answered his doubts. "I just made a bold assumption. As long as anything in the world is not destroyed, it will not disappear for no reason and will always appear somewhere. Now, let's get back to the topic. I'll ask, and you nod or shake your head." Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone slowly asked the first question. "You know I want to kill Uzumaki Naruto to cause trouble, so you have been watching me, right?" Uchiha Obito nodded. At this moment, Uchiha Obito felt that this scene was somewhat familiar. Second question. Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone looked at him and continued to ask, "You killed the Burin Ryoma last night to alienate the relationship between me and Lord Danzo." Uchiha Obito nodded quickly. "You nodded too quickly. You are trying to lie to me." Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone was not satisfied with the answer, and continued to ask, "It seems that the purpose of killing a Burin Ryoma is not to alienate the relationship between me and Lord Danzo, but to force me to betray Konoha. You want me to become a traitor, right?" Uchiha Obito's eyes widened instantly. "I guessed right." Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone seemed to be very sure of his answer, and continued, "Since you want me to become a traitor instead of killing me secretly, then you must need me to do something. Do you have something that requires the power of wood release in my body?" Uchiha Obito's eyes were a little solemn. "I already know." Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone looked at Uchiha Obito with great satisfaction, and continued softly, "If you really want me to be your helper, just nod your head gently. As the owner of the Mangekyo Sharingan, you actually need such a powerful helper like me. I'm already curious about what you want to do." Uchiha Obito nodded slowly. This kid really likes to brag. If he hadn't discovered the secret of his eye technique, if this kid hadn't set a trap during the battle, he would only be his plaything. And what exactly is this kid thinking? Want to spy on him for Konoha? Or is he just simply curious about the unknown? No, this is a lunatic with an extremely radical personality. Because this kid named Akihiro Kagura even wants to make a big trouble by killing Uzumaki Naruto, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and obviously he is not that loyal to Konoha village. In any case, as long as I can get away smoothly tonight, it's fine. Uchiha Obito already knew what Akihiro Kagura was thinking, and he also knew that this kid's brain was not normal, and he should be able to become a very useful helper in the future. Uchiha Obito was just a little unhappy that this kid had exposed his true identity and knew the secret of his Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique. "By the way, my new boss. Don't think you have the upper hand over me." Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone seemed to have guessed Uchiha Obito's thoughts, and continued, "If you leak the news that I secretly surrendered to you and do something that makes us unhappy, I will tell the secret of your Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique to others." Uchiha Obito nodded with a gloomy face. This secret will not become his shackles, but will only cause him a little trouble. If he is more careful in the future, he will never fall into today's predicament again. But how dare this kid talk to him in this way? It's just a kid, and it should be just a subordinate used as a pawn, but this kid seems to be the one who is high and mighty. Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone noticed Uchiha Obito's displeasure, but narrowed his eyes nonchalantly, and smiled to soothe his emotions. "Don't be unhappy." Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone smiled warmly, and persuaded softly, "You should be happy that you have planted an undercover in Konoha. I am a very sincere person. At least I am not attacking you now. Is the original body outside not working hard at all?" Uchiha Obito still felt a little blocked in his heart. If the wooden clone of this kid also attacked him, forcing him to only deal with the original body of the kid and Hatake Kakashi in the real world, it would be a big trouble. As for the identity of the undercover, Uchiha Obito didn't care much, because he could eavesdrop on the news at any time through the pitcher plant monster. Being undercover is very useful. Akihiro Kagura's wooden clone smiled even more. After achieving his goal, he began to paint a rosy picture for his new boss. "You have exposed your identity in Konoha today. Konoha will definitely track you down everywhere, And I happen to be a member of Konoha's Anbu. I can pass on information to you at any time and let you know Konoha's movements. Because I was the first to discover your whereabouts, delayed your departure, and exposed your identity. Konoha's top leaders will never suspect that I have any contact with you, and may even let me participate in the team tracking you down. Think about it. As long as I am an undercover in the future. Whatever you want Konoha's top leaders to know, we can let Konoha's top leaders know what we don't want them to know, and they will never find out. Such an undercover is indeed very tempting. Uchiha Obito nodded unconsciously. At this moment, he felt that what Akihara Kagura's wooden clone said made sense. The only thing that made Uchiha Obito uncomfortable was that the fact that Akihara Kagura could really become a successful Konoha undercover was all the credit that Obito had gained tonight. Okay. I wish us a pleasant cooperation. Akihara Kagura's wooden clone slowly sat up straight and said with a smile, what you should do now is to kidnap Uzumaki Naruto and let people outside think that you are the one who wanted to kill the Nine Tails tonight. Take the blame for me this time. Akihara Kagura's wooden clone said slowly, you killed the Burin Ryoma and made me take the blame. Now you want to recruit me as your subordinate to take the blame for me so that I have no grudge against you. It is also a natural thing. Just right. I can also tell them the secret that you created the Nine Tails Rebellion after you leave. Anyway, this matter will not be concealed for long because of the riot of the Nine Tails chakra in Uzumaki Naruto's body. It is better for me to say it in exchange for greater trust from Konoha. Uchiha Obito was reluctant to nod. However, he also knew that what Akihara Kagura's wooden clone said was right. After you leave, contact me again. Akihara Kagura's wooden clone slowly sat up and said, now, use your most powerful wood release in the battle, and my real body will begin to assist you in escaping Konoha. First update, nothing can be wasted. Chapter 54 Akihara Kagura, obey the orders of your superiors. Nothing can be wasted. Akihara Kagura is a frugal person. Even before leaving, Uchiha Obito had to use a wood release ninjutsu to clear himself of the suspicion of killing a Burin Ryoma in front of Hatake Kakashi. Uchiha Obito didn't think about these. Because at this time he just wanted to leave Konoha as soon as possible. Real world. Hatake Kakashi's fighting is still fierce. Even after so many years, Hatake Kakashi seems to be that genius. If it weren't for the blessing of the Mangekyou Sharingan pupil technique, Uchiha Obito might not be his opponent. Unfortunately, there is no if in the world. Uchiha Obito's body has been in a virtual state almost all the time, making Hatake Kakashi's every tough attack fail, and Akihara Kagura's assistance does not seem to be that powerful. It's impossible to attack his body at all. A drop of sweat flowed from Hatake Kakashi's forehead. No matter whether he used physical skills or ninjutsu, he could do nothing about Uchiha Obito's virtual state. Especially Uchiha Obito nodded from time to time, as if he was commenting on his growth over the years. Perhaps he was also confident that Hatake Kakashi could do nothing to him. Of course, Hatake Kakashi didn't know that Uchiha Obito was secretly forced to recruit someone in the Mangekyou Sharingan space during this short period of time. After Uchiha Obito interviewed his new subordinate, his body quickly lifted the virtual state and returned to the real world, grabbing Hatake Kakashi's left wrist with one hand. Idiot. Huh? Hatake Kakashi was not surprised but happy. Whoosh! A shuriken appeared in Hatake Kakashi's left hand, and with two fingers gently flicked, the shuriken flew to Uchiha Obito's shoulder. As a genius ninja who has participated in wars since childhood, Hatake Kakashi's shuriken throwing technique has long been proficient in perfection, and the skill is not something that other ninjas can easily learn. Is this all you can do? Uchiha Obito's palm was still holding Hatake Kakashi's wrist, but he entered the hollow state in an instant. This is the horror of Uchiha Obito's hollow state. As long as the body is attacked at the critical moment, he can instantly enter the hollow state. The insidious shuriken shot by Hatake Kakashi took advantage of the opportunity, and it passed through Uchiha Obito's shoulder as if it passed through the air. It's a bit embarrassing, Captain Kakashi. Akihara Kagura's voice suddenly came from the side. The palm of the young Anbu quickly threw out a wooden thorn and stabbed Uchiha Obito. Hatake Kakashi broke free from the shackles, flew back and retreated to Akihara Kagura's side, wanting to discuss tactics. Kagura, you are responsible for the attack, and I'll be in charge of fire style, great fireball technique. A voice interrupted Hatake Kakashi's thoughts of communication. Uchiha Obito quickly put his hands together and made seals, then opened his mouth and spit out a huge fireball in the direction of Hatake Kakashi and Akihara Kagura. Earth style, earth flow wall. Hatake Kakashi quickly made seals and released a defensive technique. A wall carved with a dog's head emerged from the ground, blocking the attack of the fireball. The scorching temperature caused the hot wind to blow up Kakashi's white hair. Humph! Still this old-fashioned method. Uchiha Obito looked at the dilapidated stone wall, destroyed by the flames, with contempt. The next moment, vines emerged around him. Akihara Kagura stood beside Hatake Kakashi, closed his fingers, maintained the gesture of the seal of the snake, and frantically manipulated the vines to attack Obito's body. Uchiha Obito looked at Akihara Kagura. The eyes of the young Embu were still sharp, as if he had always been the loyal Konoha ninja, so much so that Uchiha Obito wondered if the interview scene he had just experienced was a dream, or was he controlled by an illusion? However, it was not a dream, nor was it an illusion. Because Akihara Kagura suddenly tilted her head. This action made Uchiha Obito understand that the other party was reminding him to act according to the agreement between the wooden clone and him, instead of entangled with Hatake Kakashi here. Hatake Kakashi, this idiot, didn't know that the kid who had been fighting side by side with him had just chosen to join him. Uchiha Obito's palm suddenly closed and formed a seal. Wood release, hell chaos. Thorns grew out of the ground. These thorns swirled and grew rapidly, gathering into large trees covered with thorns, turning this place into a thorny land where no one could get close. Akihara Kagura quickly retreated, avoiding the range of hell chaos. Akihara Kagura even manipulated the vines to wrap around Hatake Kakashi's body and retreat together, saving his captain from the threat of hell's chaos. Thank you. Hatake Kakashi thanked Akihara Kagura for his help. Although Hatake Kakashi could avoid danger himself, this little guy was quick-witted and had saved him several times tonight. Although he always wanted to kill him, he would not hesitate when saving people. Obviously, Akihara Kagura was not an incorrigible child. You're welcome. Akihara Kagura's face drooped, and he snorted coldly, I'm just worried that after you die, it will be a bit difficult for me to kill him alone. Hatake Kakashi was speechless. This kid is really stubborn. It's obvious that one person is no match for Obito, right? Just now, weren't you still delaying Obito, waiting for reinforcements to come to help? Akihara Kagura looked at the ferocious and terrifying wood release hell chaos, and seemed to be unable to hold back and praised Uchiha Obito. He can actually use wood release. This technique is good. I will find a chance to develop it. This technique will definitely kill many people. Hatake Kakashi frowned. What has Uchiha Obito experienced in these years? Why does he still have wood release Kakai Genkei? How could an Uchiha get wood release Kakai? It can only be obtained through human experiments, right? Who was the person who asked him to do wood release human experiments? After hearing what Akihara Kagura said, Hatake Kakashi felt that Akihara Kagura's way of thinking was too extreme, and he had not thought of another thing at all. Hatake Kakashi shook his head slowly and took the initiative to bring up the matter. Kid, do you remember that someone killed Aburame Ryoma and put the blame on you? It was him. Akihara Kagura seemed to have just figured it out. We must keep him. However, just as Akihara Kagura quickly put his hands together and made seals, seemingly wanting to keep Uchiha Obito, Uchiha Obito's voice came over. If you take one more step forward. Uchiha Obito stepped on Uzumaki Naruto and said coldly, I will kill Uzumaki Naruto. Anyway, this kid was lucky to survive in the first place. Huh? Akihara Kagura looked at Uchiha Obito and sneered, do you think I care whether that kid lives or dies? It's as if you will let Naruto go if we stop. Isn't your goal tonight to kill Naruto? Uchiha Obito didn't want to look at him. Uchiha Obito chose to look at Hatake Kakashi. Hatake Kakashi quickly held down Akihara Kagura's shoulders, fearing that Akihara Kagura would irritate Uchiha Obito's nerves. Obito, don't be impulsive. No need to waste time talking to him. Akihara Kagura was still a little stubborn, and said loudly, whether you kill that kid or not, you can't escape tonight. I still have a lot of chakra and can delay until. Uchiha Obito's palm quickly condensed a wooden thorn. Akihara Kagura, obey the orders of your superiors. Hatake Kakashi quickly interrupted Akihara Kagura's words, and then looked at Uchiha Obito again. Obito, let go of Naruto, I let you leave here. Second update. Sometimes, subordinates must obey the orders of their superiors. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55. It was the enemy you let go who caused the Nine-Tailed Fox Rebellion. Sometimes, subordinates have to obey the orders of their superiors. Hatake Kakashi was very determined to protect Uzumaki Naruto, even at the cost of letting Uchiha Obito, a dangerous person, go. Akihiro Kagura glanced at her captain, and seemed to be forced to agree to Hatake Kakashi's order, but still said stubbornly, if Denzo-sama was here, he would definitely not let this guy escape. Hatake Kakashi just shook his head slowly. Even if Shimura Denzo was here, he would definitely be coerced by Uchiha Obito, because Uzumaki Naruto, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, is far more important than catching an enemy. Letting an enemy go, there will be a chance to catch him in the future. Hatake Kakashi took this opportunity to correct Akihiro Kagura's thoughts. If the companions in the village die, Kagura will never be resurrected. People who don't know how to value their companions are even worse than trash. A puzzled look flashed across Akihiro Kagura's face. HMPH. Uchiha Obito's expression changed slightly, but he immediately became indifferent. He shook his head slowly and laughed sarcastically. Kakashi, have you learned hypocrisy in Konoha? You, who killed Rin, can still say this. Hatake Kakashi's face suddenly turned pale. HMPH. Uchiha Obito spread out his palms, and said with a gloomy face, facts have proved that in this false world, what we said is always wrong. Uchiha Obito raised his head and expressed his contempt for this world. In this false world, ninjas should do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. Obito, there was a flash of pain in Hatake Kakashi's eyes. Because the person who said to cherish his companions was Uchiha Obito, this once positive friend completely abandoned the past path. Only in the real world will that sentence become truly meaningful. Uchiha Obito said coldly, grabbed the black stick that pierced Uzumaki Naruto, and his main Gekyo Sharingan flashed a vortex of time and space, driving his body into the vortex of time and space and disappeared without a trace. Goodbye, Kakashi. Next time we meet, you won't be so lucky. Hatake Kakashi watched him disappear. It was not until Uchiha Obito left that Hatake Kakashi took a deep breath and slowly lowered his head. Obito, is it my turn to save you now? The resurrection of his former companions was a big deal for Hatake Kakashi, and his empty heart was slowly filled up. The fact that his former companions went astray was also a big deal for Hatake Kakashi, letting him know that his life was no longer without purpose. Captain Kakashi Akihiro Kagura looked at the somewhat depressed Hatake Kakashi and threw the blame on him first. Since you let the enemy go, why don't we go over and check on the condition of that little brat Naruto first? After all, I have eaten ramen with him before. Hatake Kakashi nodded slowly. In fact, Uzumaki Naruto's injury was not serious. Although Uzumaki Naruto's body was pierced, when they wanted to send Uzumaki Naruto to the hospital, the little guy's body had actually healed. Hatake Kakashi seemed to know something about Uzumaki Naruto's situation, and murmured in a low voice, the recovery ability of the Nine-Tails chakra? Or the Uzumaki clan, what should we do? Akihiro Kagura looked at Uzumaki Naruto, who was trying to wake up, and continued to ask, should we send him to the hospital now? I think this little guy probably has no problem, or take him to eat a bowl of Ichiriko ramen first. I remember he didn't have dinner ramen. Uzumaki Naruto woke up instantly when he heard ramen. The little guy completely forgot that he was attacked, and even that the Nine-Tails chakra was running wild. He said with joy on his face, is anyone going to treat me to ramen? Kagura, is it you who wants to treat me to ramen? Well, let me think about it. Akihiro Kagura seemed to be in a good mood. After thinking for a while, he turned to look at his captain. Captain Kakashi, can the hand-beating boss send the bill to the Anbu? Wait a minute. Hatake Kakashi shook his head and explained softly, we have to go to see the third Hokage first and report to him what happened tonight. Whether it is Uzumaki Naruto, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, who is in danger, or the village hero Uchiha Obito, who has resurrected and become a rebel ninja, it is a big deal. It is impossible to hide what happened tonight, and there are even many subsequent troubles. Hatake Kakashi must report to the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. In addition, Hatake Kakashi also wants to test it. Who did the wood-release human experiment on Uchiha Obito? Who is colluding with Uchiha Obito? This will be the key to his future success in finding Obito. Let's eat first. Akihara Kagura felt a little hungry and repeated the most important thing tonight. Captain Kakashi, you've let the enemy go anyway, so there's no need to rush to report. I've been hungry for a long time today. Uzumaki Naruto stroked his rumbling stomach and weakly searched for something on his body. Where did you throw the mushrooms I picked in the mountains? That's the dinner I found with great difficulty. I didn't see it. Akihara Kagura spread his hands and said casually, it should have been crushed by that guy named Uchiha Obito. I'll treat you to ramen. A layer of black lines hung on Hatake Kakashi's forehead. Hatake Kakashi could only take Akihara Kagura and Uzumaki Naruto to a Chiriko ramen restaurant, intending to quietly ask these two people about Uchiha Obito on the way. After all, these two people were the first to discover Uchiha Obito. You can treat them to a bowl of ramen first. Anyway, these two people are victims. Especially Akihara Kagura, a somewhat extreme guy. Once something goes wrong, he will most likely cause trouble. As for Uzumaki Naruto, Hatake Kakashi couldn't help but reach out and touch the little yellow-haired head. This child doesn't understand who the person who wants to hurt him tonight is, right? However, Akihara Kagura can understand what Uchiha Obito who appeared tonight means to Uzumaki Naruto. When Akihara Kagura was about to reach the noodle shop, he suddenly said, "Oh, by the way, Captain Kakashi, I suddenly remembered something." You say Hatake Kakashi nodded. Akihara Kagura slowly opened a lid. When Uzumaki Naruto saw him, a violent chakra burst out of his body. Well, Hatake Kakashi motioned him to continue. Hatake Kakashi knew that the violent chakra that Uzumaki Naruto burst out was the chakra of the Nine Tails. Did the chakra of the Nine Tails break the seal and leak? This is a bit troublesome. However, Akihara Kagura's next sentence made Hatake Kakashi feel that the leakage of the Nine Tails chakra was not a problem at all. That guy called Uchiha Obito, that's the enemy you want to let go, Captain Kakashi. Akihara Kagura emphasized it again before continuing. When Uchiha Obito saw the violent chakra, he admitted that he had created the Nine Tails Rebellion 6 years ago. The first update. Hello everyone. Chapter 56, To Investigate Obito, First Investigate would release. In a Chiriku ramen, Uzumaki Naruto and Akihara Kagura were slurping their ramen. Akihara Kagura finished a bowl of ramen and even asked the hand-beating boss to give him another bowl, as if he had not said anything to Hatake Kakashi just now. Hand-beating boss, another bowl. Akihara Kagura glanced at Hatake Kakashi who was motionless beside him, and took the initiative to care about his boss. Captain Kakashi, you have been fighting for so long, aren't you hungry? Hatake Kakashi couldn't eat. Hatake Kakashi even felt uneasy. Akihara Kagura, the little brat, said that Uchiha Obito was the murderer of the Nine Tails Rebellion, and Hatake Kakashi regretted that he had rashly let Obito go. He should have asked Obito about this matter first. Naruto, eat quickly. Akihara Kagura urged Uzumaki Naruto, saying, after eating, we still have to go see the Sandaime. Tell him what happened tonight as soon as possible and don't disturb the old man's rest. Uzumaki Naruto nodded repeatedly. Don't worry. Hatake Kakashi gently comforted the two people. Now Hatake Kakashi has not figured out how to report what happened tonight to the third Hokage. If the third Hokage knew what happened tonight, how could the old man sleep at night? That the hand-type boss looked at Akihara Kagura and Uzumaki Naruto who were eating voraciously, and then looked at Hatake Kakashi who couldn't eat next to him. Did anything happen? Nothing. Hatake Kakashi shook his head and didn't want to mention it. We found the murderer who caused the Nine Tails Rebellion. Akihara Kagura nonchalantly promoted their achievements tonight. What? The hand-type boss tried to open his eyes wide to show his shock. Aim, who was standing next to the hand-beating boss, couldn't help but come over and looked at them with surprise. Did you catch that guy? No. Akihara Kagura shook her head and continued to put the blame on Kakashi, but the murderer seems to be Captain Kakashi's former companion, and Captain Kakashi let him go. The hand-beating boss was even more shocked. Aim also opened her mouth in surprise. Akihara Kagura Hatake Kakashi's forehead couldn't help but jump. This guy shouldn't make things sound so simple when he speaks. It was obviously to protect the little guy Naruto, but when this kid said it, it became like he was abusing his power for personal gain. Akihara Kagura. Hatake Kakashi came close to Akihara Kagura and warned in her low voice, don't only say half of the words when you speak. And don't leak the information of the Anbu casually. Hatake Kakashi looked at the still shocked and curious father and daughter of the hand beating, and explained, the truth of this matter is still unclear, And it is not what you imagined. Oh. The hand-beating boss nodded slowly. Over the years, the hand-beating boss has almost watched Hatake Kakashi grow up. He believes in Hatake Kakashi's character and does not continue to ask. However, Hatake Kakashi can hide it from the villagers, but he can't hide it from the third Hokage, because he has no way to stop Akihara Kagura from reporting it. The home of the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, has already woken up. Because the battle area of Hatake Kakashi, Akihara Kagura and Uchiha Obito was in chaos, someone had already reported this to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Among them, the most concerned thing is naturally the trace of the Nine-Tails chakra leakage. When Hatake Kakashi rushed over with Uzumaki Naruto and Akihara Kagura, a group of Anbu had already been guarding the door of Sarutobi Hiruzen's house. After checking the Nine-Tails seal on Uzumaki Naruto's body under the pretext of a physical examination, Sarutobi Hiruzen confirmed that there was no problem with the Nine-Tails seal on the little guy, and ordered the Anbu ninja to send the little guy home first. Then he asked about what happened tonight. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked calm, as if no matter what happened, he would not be shocked. What happened? Did an enemy sneak into the village tonight and want to kidnap Naruto? No. Hatake Kakashi shook his head slowly and reported in a proper manner. The village's traitor Uchiha Obito sneaked into the village tonight and wanted to take the opportunity to kill Uzumaki Naruto. Fortunately, the Anbu Akihara Kagura noticed his traces and protected Naruto's safety. Uchiha Obito, Sarutobi Hiruzen said while picking up his pipe. The old man had just struck a match when his hand suddenly stopped and his eyes widened involuntarily. Uchiha Obito. I remember the kid in the Battle of Canopy Bridge. Obito is not dead. Hatake Kakashi shook his head and explained in a deep voice, I buried his body with my own hands. I don't know why Obito came back to life. His Sharingan also possesses a magical eye technique that can avoid any attack, and he even mastered the wood release bloodline. There is one more thing. It is said that when Naruto met Obito, the Nine-Tails chakra suddenly leaked out. Also, Akihara Kagura of the Anbu claimed that Obito admitted that he was also the one who caused the Nine-Tails rebellion in the village 6 years ago. It is still impossible to tell whether this is true or not. After Hatake Kakashi explained, he continued, because judging from his age, Obito was about 13 or 14 years old at that time. This is the most suspicious point. After all, theoretically speaking, a kid who is only 13 or 14 years old might not have the ability to create a disaster as big as the Nine-Tails Rebellion, not to mention that Konoha at that time had a figure of the level of the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze in charge. It is indeed difficult to judge whether this matter is true or not. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, agreeing with what Hatake Kakashi said, and continued to ask, Kakashi, you were once a companion of Uchiha Obito. Do you know why he did not return to the village after his resurrection, but became a rebel ninja? Maybe because of Rin. Hatake Kakashi slowly lowered his head. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed and comforted his subordinates. We all know the whole story of Nahara Rin. Rin chose to sacrifice herself to protect the village. This matter cannot be blamed on you, Kakashi Hokage-sama. Hatake Kakashi knelt on one knee on the ground and made his request. I want to take the initiative to track down Obito's whereabouts, okay? Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, indicating his agreement. Uchiha Obito is a dangerous traitor who actually wants to assassinate the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki in the village. This matter cannot be left unattended. In the entire Konoha, it is estimated that there is no one more suitable than Hatake Kakashi to track down Uchiha Obito, because there is a bond between the two of them in the past. I'll go too. Akihara Kagura stood behind Hatake Kakashi and clenched his fists suddenly. That guy escaped from my hands. I must kill him. Sarutobi Hiruzen fell silent. The old man thought for a while, and his voice slowly became a little calmer. Kakashi, then let Kagura be your helper. He happens to be your subordinate. Hatake Kakashi raised his head with some doubts. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen's attitude gradually became firm, and he even took the initiative to provide them with an idea to investigate Uchiha Obito. Obito Uchiha has awakened wood release in theory. Only the cells of the first Hokage have the chance to awaken wood release. You can check the records of wood release experiments in the village when Orochimaru defected. The Anbu sealed off all of Orochimaru's underground laboratories in the village, and also sealed up the records of Orochimaru's illegal experiments when Sarutobi Hiruzen said the last words. His eyes revealed a meaningful meaning. You can check those records and find some clues. Second update. Sarutobi is a bit scheming. Chapter 57, Digging up Uchiha Obito's grave late at night? Tonight is destined to be a night of harvest. The third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen got a poor quality sleep. Hatake Kakashi got the news that his best friend Uchiha Obito is still alive. Uchiha Obito got the most. He got a powerful subordinate like Akihara Kagura and the opportunity to live in the world with his true face again. Even the little brat Uzumaki Naruto got a dinner. As for Akihara Kagura, an ordinary worker, he only got a new work task and a new gift package for new employees brought by a new superior. System task, new work task, assist Hatake Kakashi in exploring the information about Uchiha Obito, the rebel ninja of Konoha, from the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. The tasks issued by this boss are always of this kind. It seems that he only asks people to execute without asking about the results, but in fact, he must see the results. In comparison, Akihara Kagura likes her new boss very much. System prompt: you have a new superior, Uchiha Obito, and you are rewarded with a gift pack for new employees, and a new feature, the Eye of Bonding. Right, the Eye of Bonding, right. The legendary Mangekyou Sharingan, although it only has one right eye, still has a pupil power that is difficult for ordinary people to guess. System prompt: the pupil awakening of the Mangekyou Sharingan is being carried out according to the host's inner will. The pupil awakening is successful. The Eye of Bonding, right, has been replaced by the new feature, Mangekyou Sharingan, right. System prompt: the host has collected the Eye of Bonding, Mangekyou Sharingan, left, and Mangekyou Sharingan, right, and the pupil skills of both eyes have obtained a powerful blessing effect, and the characteristics are fused and strengthened into new feature, Mangekyou Sharingan. Mangekyou Sharingan, it has extremely strong abilities of observation, copying and hypnosis. It enhances observation, the ability to cast and see through illusions, can copy physical techniques and non-bloodline ninjutsu, and can even hypnotize the tailed beasts. The left eye's pupil technique is limited Tsukuyomi, the right eye's pupil technique is limit Yomiri, and the ultimate pupil technique is Susanoo. Limited Tsukuyomi, a pupil jutsu that exists in the Mangekyou Sharingan. When limited Tsukuyomi is used on the enemy, a new illusion world will be created based on the enemy's life and the host's will, and the enemy's body will be pulled into the illusion world through the power of time and space. When the enemy cannot escape the fate of the illusion world or cannot defeat the host, the enemy's body will be lost in the illusion world forever. Limited Tsukuyomi enhanced. After both eyes are enhanced, the host can control everything in the illusion world and can enter and exit the illusion world of limited Tsukuyomi at any time through the power of time and space. Limited Yellow Spring, a pupil jutsu that exists in the Mangekyou Sharingan. A Mangekyou Sharingan pupil jutsu used on the host himself. After the limit is opened, all damage suffered by the host will turn into dreams and disappear after 10 minutes. Each use of Limited Yellow Spring will greatly consume pupil power. Limited Yellow Spring enhanced. After both eyes are enhanced, the host can freely control the time of Limited Yellow Spring, no more than 10 minutes at most. There will be a 3-second interval between consecutive uses of Limited Yellow Spring. Susanoo, the ultimate eye technique of the Mangekyou Sharingan, which uses huge chakra to materialize and form a burly god of war to fight. It is an ultimate eye technique that combines offense and defense, and as the user's eye power increases, Susanoo will grow in stages. It is currently in the first stage. System prompts: when using limited Tsukuyomi and Genkei Yori, the host needs at least SSS level chakra. Using limited Tsukuyomi and Genkei Yori too much will cause the Mangekyou Sharingan's eye technique to be exhausted and blind. Hashirama cells in the host's body will greatly reduce the eye power consumption of the Mangekyou Sharingan. After the host's Mangekyou Sharingan gains eye power and is promoted to the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, it will greatly enhance the ultimate eye technique Susanoo. The eye technique of this pair of Mangekyou Sharingan is a bit strange. Akihara Kagura stroked his eye sockets. The pupil technique of his left eye was the limited Tsukuyomi, which was understandable. After being strengthened by both eyes, he could freely enter a certain illusion world, which meant that he could also learn from his new boss Uchiha Obito to hide in another space in the future. As for the pupil technique of his right eye, it was the limit Yamazumi. How did Akihara Kagura feel that this pupil technique that turned the damage to himself into a dream was a bit like a forbidden technique called Izanagi? Izanagi, the ultimate forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan, could turn damage into a dream, but it would not last too long. After using it, one of his Sharingan would be blinded. The limit Yamazumi should not blind him, which was normal. After all, he had two bosses who were good at using the forbidden technique of Izanagi. For example, the old leader Danzo Shimura was a veteran who liked to use Izanagi. Could it be that he had been too loyal to Danzo Shimura all along, so his right eye awakened a pupil technique similar to Izanagi? I want to see Master Danzo. Akihara Kagura sighed as she left the third Hokage's residence. Do you want to report Obito's affairs to Shimura Danzo? Hatake Kakashi felt that Akihara Kagura's idea was a bit dangerous. Once Shimura Danzo knew about this, that guy had always coveted the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, but there was nothing he could do in the village. Now that he knew there was a traitor from the Uchiha clan, Shimura Danzo would definitely send people to hunt down Uchiha Obito immediately. The information of the Anbu cannot be leaked casually. Even if Shimura Danzo is the Hokage's assistant, this is not allowed. Hatake Kakashi shook his head, trying to dispel Akihara Kagura's idea, and the truth about Obito has not been found out yet. No, I don't just want to report these. Akihara Kagura shook his head and sighed. I just feel that the life of the Anbu is a bit hard, and I want to return to the roots of Lord Danzo. The third Hokage's rewards and punishments are unfair. We have done so much tonight, and we can't even take a break. We have to continue to check information with you. Lord Danzo also taught me 2 powerful wood-release ninjutsu and rewarded me with an exclusive training ground. Hatake Kakashi fell silent. In so many years of Anbu career, Hatake Kakashi has seen many newcomers, but he has never seen someone like Akihara Kagura. How can an Anbu want to ask for treatment and rewards? I will report to the Hokage. Hatake Kakashi looked at the young Anbu boy beside him and couldn't help asking again, wait, I remember, didn't you take the initiative to investigate Obito with me? Because I want to monitor you. Akihara Kagura directly stated his attitude and said casually, lest Captain Kakashi let his former companion go again. That guy mocked me for being extreme, but I wanted to kill him. Actually, you kid is really extreme in doing things. Hatake Kakashi knew that he couldn't say the second half of the sentence, lest their small team investigating Uchiha Obito's intelligence immediately quarreled. I want to go to the memorial first. Hatake Kakashi suddenly proposed to go to the cemetery in the back mountain of Konoha. Let's go together, I want to monitor you. Akihara Kagura planned to go with Hatake Kakashi to take a look, and also suggested by the way, at night, are we going to dig up Uchiha Obito's grave? The first update. 2-eye techniques, 1-eye's enemy, 1-eye's energy. Chapter 58, some people are sweeping the graves, while others are secretly making contact. The back mountain of Konoha. As a hero of Konoha, Uchiha Obito has his own cemetery. Since Hatake Kakashi couldn't find the body at the beginning, he built a cenotaph for Uchiha Obito in the village and buried him next to the grave of another companion, Nahara Rin. I'll go and pay my respects to Rin myself. When Hatake Kakashi walked to the cemetery, he stopped Akihara Kagura's steps, as if he was afraid that Akihara Kagura would dig up Uchiha Obito's cenotaph. This kid is not a bad person, but he is too extreme. Hatake Kakashi feels that Akihara Kagura can really do something like digging up Uchiha Obito's grave. Okay. Akihara Kagura can only stop next to the forest. The moonlight in the sky is bright. Hatake Kakashi stands in front of 2 tombstones. One is the tombstone of Nahara Rin, and the other is the tombstone of Uchiha Obito. Rin, Obito is still alive. Hatake Kakashi lowered his head, staring at Nahara Rin's tombstone, and whispered about what happened tonight. Maybe he has come to see you too. He saved me before, and this time it should be my turn to save him back. The edge of the forest. Akihara Kagura didn't know what she felt, and her body quietly retreated under a tree, hiding her figure in the darkness. Why are you here? A dark figure stood under the tree, glanced at Akihara Kagura who was approaching, and then looked at Hatake Kakashi who came to worship in the distance. Of course I came to dig up your grave. Akihara Kagura smiled lightly on her face and said, you are worthy of being my new boss. You are so brave. I thought you escaped. This dark figure is Uchiha Obito. No one expected that this guy had just exposed his identity and caused such a big mess in Konoha, but he did not escape, but hid in Konoha village again. This time, Uchiha Obito originally wanted to talk in front of Lin's tombstone, because he finally took off his mask tonight. However, Hatake Kakashi also came. Akihara Kagura also followed, and even had the courage to meet him here almost under Hatake Kakashi's nose. You little brat. Uchiha Obito's eyes showed a hint of displeasure. He didn't like this little brat very much, but he had to admit that this little brat was very brave. Uchiha Obito didn't care that Akihara Kagura had just joined the company, and immediately began to ask about his work progress. Has there been any movement in Konoha after I left? There is a little movement, but not big. Akihara Kagura smiled and reported, Hatake Kakashi has taken the initiative to take on the task of tracking you, and I will be responsible for assisting him. Uchiha Obito snorted disdainfully, and began to slander his old friend again. It's you who are assisting him. It seems that Kakashi's luck is still so bad. Hatake Kakashi's luck has always been bad. Since he was a child, people around Hatake Kakashi have been leaving all the time. Finally, there is Akihara Kagura who follows him, but she is an undercover agent hiding beside him. Captain Kakashi's luck shouldn't be that bad, right? Akihara Kagura smiled, but didn't quite agree with Uchiha Obito's words. Tonight, Captain Kakashi's life should have hit bottom and rebounded, and his life will definitely be on the rise in the future. Okay, let's get back to business. Uchiha Obito said non-committally. With a kid like you as an undercover agent, how can you expect Kakashi's luck to rebound? Okay. Akihara Kagura could only sigh helplessly, and said faintly, I wanted to sell out the news about Captain Kakashi later. We have to go to the Konoha data room to check the human experiment records of Hashirama cells. There should be a lot of information in the Konoha data room. It will probably take some time to check. These include the records of illegal experiments in the village before Orochimaru defected. See if you can find any traces of you being implanted with Hashirama cells in Konoha. Konoha data room. Uchiha Obito sneered when he heard this. You don't want to find out the records of my transplantation of Hashirama cells from the Konoha data room. How stupid. It's impossible to find out. Uchiha Obito knew very well that he didn't transplant Hashirama cells in Konoha, because the person who helped him transplant Hashirama cells was a big shot that the entire ninja world couldn't imagine. Hearing what you said, Akihara Kagura shook his head, and suddenly raised his head and stared at Uchiha Obito. There should be no trace of you in the Konoha data room. Uchiha Obito didn't answer either. After all, Akihara Kagura had just surrendered to him tonight, and he could not trust this kid wholeheartedly, so he was naturally unwilling to tell his secrets. The two people under the big tree fell into silence. Akihara Kagura and Uchiha Obito turned their heads and looked at Hatake Kakashi, who was still worshipping the tombstone in the distance. Hatake Kakashi was still talking about his plan to find Uchiha Obito in the future, and even mentioned Akihara Kagura in front of Nahorin's tombstone. He didn't know that his subordinates and his old friend were meeting here. This scene inevitably makes people feel a little weird. If Hatake Kakashi knew in the future that Akihara Kagura and Uchiha Obito were colluding at this time, I really don't know what his expression would be at that time. I'm leaving first. Uchiha Obito's figure quietly entered a time and space vortex, and said coldly, I will contact you if I need you to do anything in the future. It's best to become a rebel ninja as soon as possible. I will tell you the plan you are interested in. Okay. Akihara Kagura nodded carelessly. This new boss is not good either. Not only did he not talk to him about salary and benefits, he didn't even have a work plan, and even wanted him to defect to Konoha. This is not good. Konoha is a good place. I must find a way to let Uchiha Obito know how much a spy in Konoha can do for him, even if it creates some trouble for Uchiha Obito. After a while, Hatake Kakashi came over, and it seemed that because he had talked in front of his companion's tombstone for a while, his mentality had also adjusted. Sorry for the wait. Not long. Akihara Kagura's attitude became a little friendlier, and she even took the initiative to provide a message. When I was thinking here just now, I suddenly remembered one thing. Before Burame Ryoma was killed by Uchiha Obito, he went to the Hidden Mist village for the last time to perform a mission. Is there a possibility Uchiha Obito is hiding in the Hidden Mist village? Hatake Kakashi's face suddenly changed. This news instantly reminded Hatake Kakashi. If Uchiha Obito has been avenging Konoha and them for the death of Nahorin, then he will definitely retaliate against the Hidden Mist village. The Hidden Mist village is the source of Rin's sacrifice. Back then, the Hidden Mist village implanted the three tails in Nahorin's body, turning her into an uncontrollable and very dangerous three-tails Jinchuriki, forcing Nahorin to ask Kakashi to kill her in order to prevent the three tails from causing a riot in Konoha. Thank you. Hatake Kakashi sincerely thanked Akihara Kagura and continued, if there is no record of Obito in the Konoha data room, then we will sneak into the Hidden Mist village. You're welcome. Akihara Kagura smiled and continued slowly, Anyway, I am your subordinate, and it is my duty to help you do something. Just think of it as a thank you for treating me to ramen tonight. Second update. Akihiro Kagura is not a bad person. Chapter 59 Captain Kakashi, do you understand what I mean? Konoha's data room. The bookshelf was filled with strange scrolls. It was not the first time that Hatake Kakashi came here. When he met the first wood-released ninja Tenzo, he sneaked into the data room to check it out, so he was quite familiar with it. It was the first time that Akihiro Kagura came here. Akihiro Kagura always knew that there would be no trace of Uchiha Obito here, so she had no interest in looking it up and just flipped through the information casually. Kagura. Hatake Kakashi suddenly stopped checking the scrolls and looked at Akihiro Kagura. There should be some information that you are interested in here. What information? About the materials coming in and out of some laboratories. Hatake Kakashi threw the scroll in his hand to Akihiro Kagura, pointed to the row of scrolls in front of him, and continued, do you want to come over and check it out? Oh. Akihiro Kagura was a little more interested. However, when Akihiro Kagura took a scroll, she realized a problem. These were some troubles left behind when Orochimaru defected from Konoha. July 3rd, need 11 test subjects, 1 ton of herbs for human culture fluid, 20 valves, 15 experimental protective glass covers, delivered, ding. July 9th, need 5 test subjects, 100 test tubes, 20 beakers, 1 generator, 300 meters of wire, delivered, ding. August 16th, need 60 test subjects, 100 test tubes, 10 tons of herbs for human culture fluid, 60 chakra test strips, delivered, Aburame Ryoma, November 17th, need 10 ninja test subjects, 100 test tubes, 10 tons of herbs for human culture fluid, a pair of Sharingan, delivered, Sharingan not available yet, Aburame Ryoma, theoretically, there should be more information. Kakashi Hatake frowned and continued, Orochimaru may have thought about defecting a long time ago. Most of the information in the laboratory was destroyed by him. Only these are left. There are only 4 pieces of information here, 2 of which have the name of Aburame Ryoma written on them, and 2 of which have a name called Ding written on them. These are people from the root. These data show that it seems that it has always been the people from the root who sent experimental materials to Orochimaru. Akihiro Kagura seemed not to notice and said slowly, 4 pieces of information, 3 of which are for test tubes. That guy named Orochimaru broke a lot of test tubes. Kakashi Hatake's eyes twitched. Is this kid's focus not right? What a trouble. In fact, Kakashi Akihira had already reacted. Why did Sarutobi Hiruzen let Kakashi Hatake bring him to the data room to check the information? The purpose was to let him discover the true face of Shimura Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to make himself discover that the roots of Shimura Danzo had been providing experimental materials to Orochimaru, so that he would realize that the miserable childhood he mentioned was caused by Shimura Danzo, and he no longer needed to be loyal to Shimura Danzo. Unfortunately, those miserable childhoods were all fake. These so-called evidences of Shimura Danzo supporting Orochimaru in conducting illegal human experiments were nothing to Akihiro Kagura. Akihiro Kagura herself was the biggest evidence of the collusion between Shimura Danzo and Konoha's S-level rebel Orochimaru. These materials seemed to be very unfavorable to Lord Danzo. Akihiro Kagura seemed a little unhappy and said casually, "There are only 2 of us here, let's take these away first. Anyway, they are not important materials. The laboratory's data room cannot be taken away." Hatake Kakashi shook his head and did not allow Akihiro Kagura to destroy the evidence. These are all evidences that Shimura Danzo once colluded with Orochimaru. Captain Kakashi. Akihiro Kagura sighed and said, "You should know that the 3rd Hokage also knows that I am loyal to Lord Danzo, but he still let me see these so-called evidences, perhaps just to let me hand them over to Lord Danzo for disposal." Hatake Kakashi frowned. Why do I suddenly feel that what Akihiro Kagura said makes some sense? At the beginning, Shimura Danzo sent people to assassinate the 3rd Hokage, but he still got the 3rd Hokage's generous forgiveness, not to mention that he only had a little collusion with Orochimaru. The 3rd Hokage has good intentions. Akihiro Kagura sighed in a tone that was not appropriate for her age, and waved her hand to collect the scrolls, intending to hand them over to Shimura Danzo in the future. Maybe Hokage-sama doesn't mean this. Hatake Kakashi's thoughts were more complicated. Hatake Kakashi remembered that he was bewitched by Shimura Danzo and almost betrayed the 3rd Hokage. He also learned the truth in the Konoha data room. How could the 3rd Hokage have good intentions? It was obvious that he wanted to take this opportunity to make Akihara Kagura and Shimura Danzo fall out, right? Kid, aren't you angry? Looking at Akihara Kagura's actions, Kakashi Hatake couldn't help but ask, you were also sent to Danzo Shimura as an experimental subject. What's the use? After Akihara Kagura put away the evidence scrolls, he said calmly, actually, I have noticed some clues. What I hate most is that I lived a precarious life as an experimental subject when I was a child. I might die at any time. But there is no way for me to turn back. Akihara Kagura looked at Kakashi Hatake deeply and continued, even if Danzo-sama uses me as a killing tool, I will never betray him. I will even be more ruthless than he wants. My birth means that I will never leave Danzo-sama. You're just an innocent child. Kakashi Hatake felt that the little guy was a little slow, and reminded him, judging from these evidences, you should have been sent to Orochimaru by Danzo Shimura as an experimental subject. What's more, you have joined the Anbu now. Captain Kakashi. Akihara Kagura interrupted Hatake Kakashi with a look on his face and said in a cold voice, the director of Konoha Orphanage, Yakushi Nono, is still under the command of Danzo-sama. We are different. I can't give up someone who is more important to me for my own sake. I have always wanted to kill Tenzo. Not just to please Danzo-sama. I am also jealous of his freedom. I am also jealous that someone can take him away from the root. Hatake Kakashi was silent for a long time, and bared his head to continue to check the information. He knew the dilemma of Akihara Kagura and the truth about the extreme personality of this kid. If it weren't for Shimura Danzo, this kid would also be a sunny and kind person, right? Even with the threat of Shimura Danzo, this kid still hides that kindness in his heart. While checking the scroll information, Hatake Kakashi was thinking about how he should report tonight's events to the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, hoping that the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen would be willing to rescue Yakushi Nono from the root, so that Akihara Kagura could also be saved. There is no trace of Obito here. Hatake Kakashi finished reading all the information about Hashirame's cells and looked at Akihara Kagura, who was a little distracted on the other side. I will report to the Hokage and apply for our mission to leave Konoha and go to the Hidden Mist village for reconnaissance. I want to take a rest. Akihara Kagura pretended to touch her ninja tool bag. The ninja tool bag contained the unfavorable evidence about Shimura Danzo. Anyone who saw Akihara Kagura's actions could immediately tell that he was going to see Shimura Danzo under the banner of rest. First update: Akihara seems to be a child from an orphanage, right? Chapter 60, Shimura Danzo's heart was moved. Early in the morning, Hatake Kakashi and Akihara Kagura left the Konoha data room. One raised his head and walked towards the direction of the Hokage building, and the other lowered his head and walked towards the direction of the root base. Inside the Hokage building, Sarutobi Hiruzen went to work very early. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought something might happen today. The evidence in the Konoha data room about Shimura Danzo supporting Orochimaru in conducting illegal human experiments was originally put in by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen guessed that Akihara Kagura might fall out with Shimura Danzo, but he didn't expect that when Hatake Kakashi reported to him, there was also the matter of Yakushi Nono. Was this little guy Akihara Kagura threatened because of Yakushi Nono? Yakushi Nono, I remember she was from the intelligence department of the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen remembered the woman Yakushi Nono. Yakushi Nono had always been walking in the ninja world as a Mikado and provided Konoha with a lot of valuable information, but she didn't like being a spy. Shimura Danzo threatened Yakushi Nono with the funds of Konoha Orphanage to continue to be a spy and provide Konoha with information about other ninja villages. Sarutobi Hiruzen was also very clear about this. This is the darkness in the village. This is what Sarutobi Hiruzen could not do. He could only let Shimura Danzo act. Konoha could not only have warm sunshine, but also dark shadows. Don't pay attention to this matter for the time being. Sarutobi Hiruzen could not let Shimura Danzo's work be unable to proceed. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that he had transferred Akihara Kagura to the Anbu, which had aroused Shimura Danzo's anger. Anything more would inevitably make Shimura Danzo unhappy. If Yakushi Nono could be brought out from the root, it would indeed allow Akihara Kagura, the little guy, to get rid of Shimura Danzo's shackles, but Danzo, the stingy guy, would probably go crazy. Of course. There is one more thing. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not tell Hatake Kakashi. Since there has been a long-standing conflict between Shimura Danzo and Akihara Kagura, according to Sarutobi Hiruzen's understanding of his old friend, there is no need to do much, and it will fall apart sooner or later. Root base. When Akihara Kagura arrived, the two gatekeepers did not dare to stop him. When Shimura Danzo saw Akihara Kagura, he was very confused as to why Akihara Kagura came to see him, as they had just met yesterday. Does this kid have intelligence to report? It's unlikely, right? Would that monkey guy let him see secrets? Akihara Kagura knew what Shimura Danzo was interested in, and first mentioned Uchiha Obito. Last night, when I was patrolling in the back mountain, I found that Uchiha Obito, a rebel ninja in the village, had sneaked in and wanted to kill Uzumaki Naruto Uchiha Obito. Shimura Danzo's face was full of doubts, and he didn't quite believe it. Didn't that guy die in the Ninja World War? Shimura Danzo had a deep impression of this incident. Shimura Danzo once specially sent a team of Root to help recover Uchiha Obito's body, so that Konoha's unique Sharingan bloodline would not be lost. As a result, the team of Root ninjas was not found. Shimura Danzo's plan failed, and he wanted to help recover the Sharingan that Uchiha Obito gave to Hatake Kakashi, so that Uchiha's unique Sharingan bloodline would not be lost. As a result, this plan also failed. Hatake Kakashi also saw it with his own eyes. Akihara Kagura had no respect for Hatake Kakashi here, and continued, the third Hokage also knew about this. Uchiha Obito even awakened wood release, and his Sharingan also has a strange ability that can dodge all attacks. That's the main Gekyo Sharingan. Shimura Danzo's heart beat fiercely, and he immediately understood that Uchiha Obito had the main Gekyo Sharingan. As a person who covets the Sharingan, Danzo Shimura understands the evolution process of the Sharingan better than ordinary Uchiha clan members. Main Gekyo Sharingan. This makes Danzo Shimura unable to contain himself. Danzo Shimura looked at Kagura Akihara and said in a deep voice, you said that the resurrected Uchiha Obito also awakened the wood release bloodline? Did he also transplant Hashirama cells? In the entire ninja world, only Konoha and Orochimaru possess Hashirama cells. Have you seen Uchiha Obito when you were with Orochimaru? Was it Orochimaru who saved him back then? I remember that Orochimaru should not be at the Konobi Bridge battlefield on the northern line. I've never seen it. Kagura Akihara shook his head, not wanting to let his old boss take the blame. I understand. Danzo Shimura made a note that his future work focus would be to hunt down the traitor Uchiha Obito who was on the run and to recover the main Gekyo Sharingan that was on the run. Then he looked at Kagura Akihara again. Go on, does Monkey have anything to say about this? Yes. Kagura Akihara nodded and continued. The Sandaime Hokage ordered Kakashi Hatake and I to track down Uchiha Obito's whereabouts. First, he asked us to go to the Konoha data room to look up information about wood release to see if we can find any traces of Uchiha Obito's appearance. Results: these are what I found. Kagura Akihara took out the evidence he got from the Konoha data room and whispered, I strongly suspect that the Sandaime Hokage deliberately let me see this evidence. The Sandaime Hokage has always believed that I was sent by Danzo-sama to conduct human experiments on Hashirama's cell transplantation, and wanted me to hate Danzo-sama because of this. Huh? Monkey always does these stupid things. Danzo Shimura glanced at the evidence on the scrolls and put them into the drawer nonchalantly. It seems that Orochimaru missed something when he left Konoha. But it doesn't matter anymore, as long as we recover the evidence. Danzo Shimura squinted his eyes rarely and praised, Kagura, you did a good job. Report any information to me immediately. Danzo Shimura looked at Kagura Akihara with some satisfaction. He didn't care that the little guy was transferred to the Anbu. He was even a little arrogant about Akihara's loyalty to him. That bastard monkey will never figure out why you can't betray me. Then what about this? Kagura Akihara scratched his head, seeming a little troubled. I'm worried that it will arouse their suspicion. They all think that I was sent from the orphanage by Danzo as an experimental subject, and I should betray Danzo for this kind of thing. I am still loyal to Danzo. Huh? Danzo Shimura cursed coldly. Those idiots in the Anbu have long been led astray by the monkey. They have long forgotten that ninjas walking in the dark only need to carry out the tasks assigned by their superiors and absolutely do not need useless things like emotions. Yes, but I have aroused suspicion. Akihara Kagura glanced at Danzo Shimura, who seemed a little unhappy, and continued to talk nonsense. I can only temporarily claim that I was born in the Konoha orphanage. The director, Yakashi Nono, asked me to be loyal to Lord Danzo, which barely dispelled their suspicion of me. This method is also fine. Danzo Shimura nodded to Kagura Akihara with satisfaction, and continued, I will find a way to confirm this matter. By the way, I just heard you say that the monkey asked you and Kakashi to continue to explore the whereabouts of Uchiha Obito. Yes. Akihara Kagura nodded and continued. Hatake Kakashi applied to the third Hokage to leave the village and go to the hidden mist village to scout the traces of Uchiha Obito. Hatake Kakashi suspects that Uchiha Obito may have defected to the hidden mist village overseas. Just right. Shimura Danzo's eyes suddenly became sharp, and he ordered in a cold voice, then you continue to track down Uchiha Obito with Kakashi, and notify me immediately when you find his trace. I will arrange for the people of the route to cooperate with you to pass on the message. Once I find his trace, I will personally rush over to support you. System prompt, new work task, assist Hatake Kakashi to explore the intelligence of Uchiha Obito, and notify Shimura Danzo of the information. Second update. Shimura Danzo is really obsessed with Sharingan. The new book list has fallen off. Please collect, read, comment, and vote for it. Chapter 61. Another person involved in the investigation of Uchiha Obito. Shimura Danzo's thoughts are obvious. Since the Uchiha clan stays in Konoha all year round, Shimura Danzo has to use all means to seize a Sharingan, and Uchiha Obito, a wild rebel ninja, has already been targeted by him. Especially Uchiha Obito also has the main Gekyo Sharingan. Shimura Danzo believes that Akihara Kagura and Hatake Kakashi may not be able to get rid of Uchiha Obito, who has the main Gekyo Sharingan, and it is estimated that he, the shrewd boss, will have to take action to be sure. To put it another way, even if these two people have the opportunity to get rid of Uchiha Obito, Shimura Danzo must be present to take the lead in recovering Uchiha Obito's main Gekyo Sharingan. Danzo Shimura told Kagura Akihara to remember to pass on the information, and his mood gradually calmed down. Is Kakashi Hatake going with you to the hidden mist village this time? Yes. I've been keeping an eye on him. Kagura Akihara glanced at Danzo Shimura, who had become calm again, and whispered, when I first came to Konoha, that guy displeased Lord Danzo. This time on the road, I will try to find an opportunity to kill him. I've said it a long time ago, don't act too extreme. Danzo Shimura couldn't help but chuckle, and said, I also told you not to attack the Anbu people casually. They are also members of Konoha. Besides, Kakashi Hatake is an excellent ninja. I am a generous person and will not care about his offense. Kagura Akihara nodded insincerely. I have always liked Kakashi. When Shimura Danzo said this, his face was actually a little serious. He has a darkness that others can't reach. On the way, you can ask him if he is willing to join the route. I can help him save Uchiha Obito's life in the future. Okay. Akihara Kagura nodded quickly. System prompt, new work task, invite Hatake Kakashi to join the route, from the boss Shimura Danzo. Why does this boss have such daydreams every day? Just talking about the difficulty of catching Uchiha Obito, the whole Konoha can't do anything about Uchiha Obito, and he has already thought about how to deal with him after catching him. Besides, Hatake Kakashi is the captain of the Anbu, a regular cadre, and he may even have the chance to become the Hokage in the future, but you want him to come to the route as a temporary worker. However, Akihara Kagura thought that this task was a bit difficult, so she decided to speak up and give her boss a heads up in advance, lest Shimura Danzo really think that Akihara Kagura can do it. I'm worried that Hatake Kakashi won't agree. Moreover, Hatake Kakashi may not believe that Lord Danzo can help him save Uchiha Obito's life. Oh. Uchiha Obito. Akihara Kagura glanced at Shimura Danzo, who was still sitting as steady as a mountain, and continued, he is the murderer who caused the Nine Tails Rebellion in Konoha 6 years ago. Bang! Shimura Danzo could no longer sit still. What did you say? Akihara Kagura lowered his head with satisfaction and continued, when I met Uchiha Obito, he personally admitted that he caused the Nine Tails Rebellion, but Hatake Kakashi thought there might be doubts about this matter and wanted to exonerate Uchiha Obito. The third Hokage did not say much. Just as I expected. Shimura Danzo's eyes were full of anger, and he slammed his fist on the desk. The Uchiha clan is the murderer who caused the Nine Tails Rebellion. Uchiha Obito has the main Gekyo Sharingan. He must have done this. Once the Uchiha clan goes astray in their thoughts, they will gain evil power and bring great disasters to Konoha. Shimura Danzo couldn't stay there at all, and said coldly, you go and rest first. Now I have to go to the Hokage building to discuss important matters. What about recruiting Kakashi? Akihara Kagura asked tentatively. Danzo Shimura was silent for a while, and decided to let Akihara Kagura handle the matter himself. Uchiha Obito will definitely be executed. You can handle the rest yourself. Yes. Akihara Kagura could only nod helplessly. Since the boss told him to handle it now, after recruiting Hatake Kakashi, if there are any problems in the future, he should not let his subordinate take the blame. By the way, Akihara Kagura remembered something and planned to clear the black pot on himself. Sir Danzo, about the matter of Obure and Ryoma-senpai, I don't care about such trivial matters. Danzo Shimura was not interested in this matter, nor did he care whether Akihara Kagura wanted to wash away his grievances. He just taught him, you only need to remember one thing, don't kill people indiscriminately in the village. Why can't this black pot be washed away? It's okay for the boss Danzo Shimura to bear the black pot himself, but why does he let his subordinates carry the black pot all the time? Forget it. These are all trivial matters. Akihara Kagura could only helplessly watch Shimura Danzo go to the Hokage building. This boss went to the Hokage building whenever he encountered something, and he couldn't get anything done and was still angry. Anbu locker room. When Akihara Kagura returned here, she planned to take off the Anbu equipment and take advantage of this free time to wander around the village for a while. However, Hatake Kakashi couldn't wait. This was the first time in all these years that Hatake Kakashi was so active. Hatake Kakashi got permission from the third Hokage to leave Konoha, and he didn't even go home to pack his luggage, but came to the Anbu base to meet Akihara Kagura. Are you in such a hurry? To avoid alerting Obito. Kakashi Hatake was wearing a white cloak, and he said softly, Obito has been hiding his identity because he doesn't want people to know that he is still alive. This time Obito's identity is exposed, he may clean up the traces he once left behind. Kakashi Hatake found another reason for them. The village has always needed us to investigate the intelligence of the Hidden Mist village. Kakashi Hatake spoke of this reason, and it sounded more and more like, the Hidden Mist village is isolated outside the ninja continent and has implemented a closed policy towards the water country for a long time. Few people can find out the news there. Konoha has always lacked intelligence on the Hidden Mist village, so I got the permission from the Hokage to leave the village so quickly. Kagura Akihara felt that Kakashi Hatake was right. System prompt, new work task, assist Kakashi Hatake in investigating the intelligence of the Hidden Mist village, from the boss Kakashi Hatake. Oh, right. As if he remembered something, Hatake Kakashi suddenly said to Akihara Kagura, I forgot to tell you that there is a member of the Uchiha clan who will also act with us. We have to go to the Uchiha clan first. No matter what, Uchiha Obito is also a member of the Uchiha clan. The third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen ordered Hatake Kakashi to summon Uchiha Fugaku to inquire about the situation, and took the initiative to tell Uchiha Fugaku some information about Uchiha Obito, including the question of the Nine Tails Rebellion, which is still in doubt. After all, the Nine Tails Rebellion has always been a thorn in Konoha and Uchiha. Uchiha Fugaku immediately realized the seriousness of the matter, and made up his mind to the third Hokage to send people to participate in the investigation of Uchiha Obito's whereabouts. If this Uchiha Obito is really the murderer of the Nine Tails Rebellion, the harm is no less than that of Uchiha Madara, the first traitor of Konoha. The Uchiha clan has really suffered enough from the defection of the former clan leader Uchiha Madara. If the story of Uchiha Obito is really confirmed, the entire Uchiha clan will no longer have to think about compromising with the Konoha high-level officials. First update. Please collect. Please read. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Sasuke, I will be your examiner when you take the Chunin exam. Uchiha Clan Land. This is located on the edge of Konoha village. When Konoha first divided the residential areas of various ninja clans, the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama allocated them the largest residential area in the name of the Uchiha clan, being a powerful clan in the ninja world. The residential area that was too large could only be located on the edge of Konoha village. Decades have passed. Konoha village has expanded a lot of areas. 6 years ago, the Nine Tails Rebellion caused heavy losses in Konoha village. The Konoha high-level officials redivided the residential areas of various ninja clans. Shimura Danzo helped divide the Uchiha clan's land into a larger residential area on the edge, and there were also larger training grounds around it. The Uchiha clan's land has been located on the edge of Konoha all year round. In addition, this clan is arrogant by nature, and few villagers are willing to come here. The Uchiha clan gradually became more and more isolated from the villagers, and even prevented the villagers from entering the Uchiha clan land. The scenery here is nice. Akihara Kagura praised. This place is more magnificent than the Uchiha clan's former land. Hatake Kakashi nodded and looked at an old man sitting at the door of the store. Excuse me, where's the home of Uchiha Fugaku, the captain of the Konoha police force? Go straight along this road. The old people of the Uchiha clan are very patient. In comparison, the young people of the Uchiha clan are obviously a bit irritable. Seeing Akihara Kagura, the wood-released ninja who defeated Uchiha Itachi, appear here, it is inevitable that their faces will become ugly. It was only because Akihara Kagura was a child that no conflict occurred. It seems that they don't welcome us. Akihara Kagura noticed the people they met on the road. They don't welcome anyone. Hatake Kakashi had seen the style of the Uchiha clan a long time ago, and whispered to the boy beside him, "Not only you, any outsider who comes here is not welcome." When Hatake Kakashi was a teenager, he often came to the Uchiha clan to look for the late Uchiha Obito, and he didn't care much about these. Akihara Kagura asked the question she was most curious about: who from the Uchiha clan will go to the Hidden Mist village with us? Uchiha Shisu, is he pretty good? No. Hatake Kakashi shook his head and found a reason for Uchiha Shisu. Uchiha Shisu is an elite jonin in the village and has other important tasks to perform. If it were before the Chunin exam, Uchiha Shisu might have gone to the Hidden Mist village with him, but during the Chunin exam, after Uchiha Shisu displayed the Susanoo technique, it was not convenient for him to leave Konoha at will to perform the mission. For the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Shisu's power can affect the balance between Uchiha and Konoha. For the Konoha high-level officials, Uchiha Shisu is a pacifist who is inclined towards Konoha, and his power can also be used by Konoha, and even used as a strategic weapon. In summary, it is not convenient for Uchiha Shisu to leave the village at will for the time being. Seeing that Akihara Kagura looked a little unhappy, Hatake Kakashi said, "But you also know the people who went to the Hidden Mist village with us. That brat Uchiha Itachi." Akihara Kagura didn't know many Uchiha names, and he dug up a familiar name and even said with certainty, "I only know Uchiha Shisu and Uchiha Itachi, and at most the little thing that was yelling in the Chunin exam, it seemed to be called Uchiha Sasuke. Why do you call Uchiha Itachi a brat?" Hatake Kakashi glanced at Akihara Kagura speechlessly, and couldn't help saying, "I remember you are the same age as Uchiha Itachi, right? But our identities are different." Akihara Kagura retorted slowly, distinguishing himself from Uchiha Itachi. "When I was his age, I had already become an Anbu in Konoha. This is the second day you joined the Anbu, right?" Hatake Kakashi adjusted the ninja forward protector on his forehead and continued, "It's not even 24 hours since you reported to the Anbu. We're here." Akihara Kagura stopped in front of a house. The house was quite large, and one could even hear the sound of the stream in the courtyard. "Sorry, Itachi is not at home." Uchiha Mikoto came out to greet them, whispered her apology, and revealed a trace of worry in her gentle eyes. "This morning, Itachi went to the training ground. Since losing to Akihara Kagura in the Chunin exam, Uchiha Itachi has become more diligent and hard-working, and has spent most of his time in the training ground every day." Uchiha Mikoto was very worried about her son, but she couldn't say anything to stop her child's efforts. She should even be glad that her child did not sink into frustration over a failure, nor did he hate a failure. This is a gentle mother. In fact, Uchiha Itachi's family is very good. Uchiha Fugaku has always been proud of his eldest son, Uchiha Itachi. Even when Uchiha Itachi lost to Akihara Kagura during the Chunin exam, Uchiha Fugaku did not blame his son. Uchiha Fugaku knew very well that it was not his son's fault. He even thought that Uchiha Itachi finally had an opponent of the same age, and encouraged Uchiha Itachi to work hard to practice the Sharingan, and sooner or later he would be able to defeat his opponent Akihara Kagura. As for his younger brother, there's even less to say. The little brat Uchiha Sasuke stood beside his mother, his cheeks puffed up with anger, and glared at Akihara Kagura. "Hey, that guy, don't be too proud, Nissan will defeat you sooner or later." "Sasuke." Uchiha Mikoto hurriedly stopped her younger son's rude behavior, and gently taught him, "Don't say such rude words. It's normal for children to be upset." The young Akihara Kagura behaved like an adult, forgave little Sasuke very tolerantly, and even bent down to affectionately stroke Uchiha Sasuke's head. "Kid, don't always count on others to help you. Akihara Kagura looked at Uchiha Sasuke, whose face was still full of anger, and continued slowly, if you still have the ambition of a little man, help your brother to take revenge when you grow up, okay? Little Sasuke acted very ambitious, waving his little fists. When I grow up and take part in the Chunin exam, I will definitely knock you down in front of everyone. Okay, Akihara Kagura stroked little Sasuke's head, nodded with a smile and said, it's a bit of a pity. When you grow up, I should be the examiner of the Chunin exam, and then I will find a reason to eliminate you and never allow you to be promoted to Chunin for the rest of your life. Little Sasuke was stunned. Over the years, the little Uchiha Sasuke has always been loved, and he has never seen a guy with such a bad temper. He was so scared that his eyes turned red. Ho-ha-ho-ha. Uchiha Mikado covered her mouth and chuckled, and softly comforted her little son. Okay, Sasuke, your senior is just teasing you. Let's go find someone first. Hatake Kakashi hurriedly wanted to drag Akihara Kagura away, not wanting to see this little guy bullying the child again, lest they lose face for the Anbu. Kakashi-senpai, Akihara-kun. Just at this time, Uchiha Itachi appeared on the street, and politely greeted Hatake Kakashi and Akihara Kagura. Because his father Uchiha Fugaku went to the training ground to convey an order to him, asking him to accompany him to investigate Uchiha Obito's affairs, Uchiha Itachi hurried home to pack up his things. Uchiha Itachi's eyes fell on Uchiha Sasuke, whose eyes were red, and a trace of heartache appeared in his eyes. He hurried forward to comfort his younger brother. Sasuke, what's wrong? Maybe he thinks his future life as a Jonin will be too hard. Akihara Kagura talked nonsense in front of everyone, persuading Uchiha Itachi, who was comforting his brother. Okay, pack up quickly, don't waste time here comforting this little guy. Anyway, you will leave with us soon, he will definitely continue crying. Second update. Please collect it. I heard that the author is not only a fan of Orochimaru, but also a fan of Sasuke. Chapter 63. Could it be that the fourth Mizukage came to check it personally? The entrance of Konoha village. Just as Akihara Kagura expected. When little Sasuke heard that his brother was going out to perform a mission, he cried miserably when he said goodbye, and hugged Uchiha Itachi's arm and didn't want to let go. Don't cry. Akihara Kagura looked at Uchiha Itachi carefully comforting his brother, and took the initiative to step forward to help out. Little boy, actually we don't want to take your brother to perform the mission. He is not my opponent and probably can't help much. How about you take your brother back? I'll hiccup. Little Sasuke's crying was immediately choked, and he cried even louder in an instant. Wow, Nissan. Nissan is the best. He can definitely help complete the mission. Okay. Then you cry for a while. Akihara Kagura touched Uchiha Sasuke's head and waved to Uchiha Itachi. Let's go. Listen to your brother, and don't let your brother down. Uchiha Itachi was a little at a loss. Let's go, Itachi. Uchiha Mikado embraced her little son, smiled and persuaded him, don't keep everyone waiting, I'll take Sasuke home first. And little Sasuke cried and went home with his mother. Thank you. Uchiha Itachi then thanked Akihara Kagura in a reserved manner. Compared with Akihara Kagura, this boy seemed particularly polite. Kakashi-senpai, Kagura-kun, let's go. Hatake Kakashi, who had been standing by and watching coldly, finally stood up and nodded and said, let's go faster when we are in a hurry. As a senior, Hatake Kakashi is still qualified. Along the way, Hatake Kakashi took good care of the two little guys, and generously taught them how ninjas can hide their whereabouts and anti-tracking skills in the wild. Even though Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Shiso had learned this knowledge, they had decided that the Anbu is worthy of being the elite ninjas in the village, and the methods they used were more sophisticated and meticulous. Of course, Akihara Kagura is an exception. This former rival, in the eyes of Uchiha Itachi, was a little delicate, as if he had never survived in the wild. The only way he could survive in the wild was to fish for a while by the river in the evening. Moreover, this rival had a really bad temper. Once he saw that the big fish did not take the bait, he would use the wood release ninjutsu to stab the fish directly. Late at night. First camping. The three of them gathered under a tree. Hatake Kakashi looked at Akihara Kagura, and there was a rare look of relief in his eyes. Kagura, you can use wood release to build a rest house. The Anbu ninjas like to act with Tenzo. In addition to Tenzo's powerful strength, it is also because the wood release technique is very convenient for life. Even in the wild, Tenzo can build a rest house. Is this okay? Akihara Kagura looked at Hatake Kakashi and raised her doubts. A house suddenly appeared in the wild, which is too conspicuous. It's better to be a little low-key outside. It doesn't matter. Hatake Kakashi frowned, feeling that Akihara Kagura had become a little strange. When did this kid have such a normal ninja mindset? Hatake Kakashi thought it was safe here. This is the territory of the Land of Fire. We have already investigated the area nearby. There are no enemies. Traps have been set up around. We can have a good rest tonight and continue to speed up tomorrow. I can't. Akihara Kagura extinguished Hatake Kakashi's idea with one sentence, and continued to add, if you want to build a house, the only thing I can do is to provide a century-old tree. Akihara Kagura really can't use wood release to build a house. Since the Chunin exam, Akihara Kagura has not had any time to rest and train, let alone develop the wood release bloodline technique. After solving the crisis of Uchiha Obito's spying, she hurriedly went on a business trip with Kakashi. Moreover, the wood release technique of the first Hokage was powerful enough. Now that Hatake Kakashi suddenly said that he needed a house to rest, Akihara Kagura thought about it and realized that the only thing she could provide was the illusion world of Tsukuyomi. That kind of terrifying eye technique must not be exposed here. Forget it. Hatake Kakashi sighed, called the two little guys together around, and said, after all, we have formed a small team for the time being, so let's exchange the techniques that can be used by each other in advance. This time we are going to gather intelligence in the water country, and there is a high probability of encountering danger. You should have seen it all. Akihara Kagura leaned against the tree slowly and spread out one hand. After all, I have never been to ninja school, and I don't have any guiding Jonin. It would be impolite to ask anything else. I am good at fire escape and illusion. Uchiha Itachi modestly talked about the techniques he was good at, and asked, what about Kakashi Sr.? I remember the Kakashi Sr. should know a lot of ninjutsu. Almost all of them. Hatake Kakashi had no idea about his own abilities. He just mentioned what he was best at. If I have to say, it should be lightning escape. Come and show us your skills. Akihara Kagura turned over and stood up. My chakra is not as abundant as yours. Hatake Kakashi shook his head. He didn't want to waste chakra at this time. He was a little curious. Do you only know 2 wood styles? It's already very powerful. Uchiha Itachi had personally experienced Akihara Kagura's wood style. Hatake Kakashi himself felt something was wrong. Although Akihara Kagura had only used 2 wood styles, those 2 wood styles were enough to destroy the world, and even he had no way to crack them. Akihara Kagura didn't care about her lack of knowledge and continued, if you count the wood clones, I will use 5 wood styles. Wood clone. Hatake Kakashi touched his chin and said thoughtfully, wood clone is more difficult to distinguish than shadow clone, but it is quite suitable for reconnaissance. The problem is that Akihara Kagura's personality is not suitable for reconnaissance missions. On the 3rd day, the team arrived at the seaside. There was no ship willing to go to the Land of Water in the entire port. Until now, only ships from the Hidden Mist Village have appeared here. Their purpose is to harass the Land of Fire, and they will never let them board. The technology of the ninja world is very strange. Many small boats in the ninja world are made of wood, but they are not paddled with wooden oars, but driven by motors at the stern. It takes professional operation skills to make the boat sail. What they need is a ship that can sail, and it must have professional crew and captains, because going to the Land of Water is a long voyage. Shall we go to another port? Uchiha Itachi had learned geography and knew that there was another port nearby. The journey to the other port is not too far. No need. Hatake Kakashi shook his head and whispered, the Hidden Mist Village has long closed off the water country. Even if we go to another port, no one is willing to let us take it. Akihara Kagura proposed her own idea. You two have Sharingan, why don't you use Sharingan to hypnotize and control the crew of a ship? Hatake Kakashi is a very positive person. The ninjas of the Hidden Mist Village will check the ships entering the waters of the water country, which will put innocent civilians in danger and expose us to the side of the Hidden Mist Village. Akihara Kagura is also a very positive person. When the Hidden Mist ninjas come to check, just kill them. Could it be that the Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village will come to do such a small thing as checking in person? First update. Please collect it. Sasuke's lightning release is so handsome. Chapter 64, the 4th Mizukage Karatechi Yagura. What Akihara Kagura said made sense. The Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village could not possibly do such a small thing. The Hokage of Konoha Village spent most of his time in the Hokage building handling official business, and the Mizukage must be extremely busy every day. How could he have time to float on the sea every day to inspect ships? However, Hatake Kakashi believed that even if it was a Jonin from the Hidden Mist village, they might not be able to easily deal with him in a combat environment that was not favorable to them at sea. Once they failed to kill the opponent and let him escape, it would be troublesome. Akihiro Kagura's wood release technique was also weakened to a certain extent at sea. Even if he could perform the wood dragon technique, such a big movement would definitely attract the attention of the Hidden Mist village. The world of ninjas is inherently dangerous. Akihiro Kagura rarely said a serious word, and his next sentence exposed his true nature. If it doesn't work, we'll just return the same way. Anyway, when we set out, Danzo-sama went to see the third Hokage. It is estimated that the entire ninja world will soon spread the news of Uchiha Obito's traitorous ninja wanted list. He can't continue to hide. Sooner or later, he will be found. Shimura Danzo is really. Hatake Kakashi was a little helpless, and he also realized the urgency of time. I'll go find a ship. Uchiha Itachi used the Sharingan to hypnotize and control the captain of a sea ship, carrying the three of them towards the direction of the land of water. Under normal circumstances, the Mizukage of the Hidden Mist village is indeed not so free, unless this Mizukage is not the one who really holds power. Unfortunately, now the fourth Mizukage of the Hidden Mist village, Yagura Karadachi, is just a chess piece controlled by someone. The land of water. The Hidden Mist village, in the Mizukage's office. Uchiha Obito put on his mask again, sat in the position of the fourth Mizukage, holding a stack of Kurigakure ninja information in his hand, slowly selecting the chess pieces he wanted from them. The fourth Mizukage Yagura stood beside Uchiha Obito, as quiet as a wooden man, as if he could not see what Uchiha Obito was doing. Kurigakure implanted the three tails in Nahara Rin's body during the war, which directly led to Nahara Rin's choice to be killed by Kakashi. In addition, this village was isolated from the ninja world and had two-tailed beasts, the three tails and the six tails. Uchiha Obito simply controlled the fourth Mizukage of Kurigakure, and controlled the entire Kurigakure with the influence of the Mizukage. Many years ago, Kurigakure had always adhered to the principle that only those who came out of killing were strong, and even the graduation assessment of the ninja school was a cannibalism. It was not until a student named Mamachi Zabuza killed all the graduating candidates that year that this assessment method was completely ended. However, the Hidden Mist village still did not change the status quo of the Blood Mist village. The superiors were oppressed by their superiors, so they implemented a cruel and high-pressure management policy on their subordinates. The Water Country was also full of contradictions. In the Water Country, the self-proclaimed powerful Kaguya clan was cruel and warlike. They never obeyed the orders of the Hidden Mist village and killed ordinary civilians at will, causing the entire Water Country and even the Hidden Mist village ninjas to hate the Bloodline ninjas extremely. Uchiha Obito was too lazy to pay attention to this. After Uchiha Obito controlled the fourth-generation Mizukage Yagura, he never thought about the problem of governing the Hidden Mist village. He just used this village as a place to temporarily store the three-tailed beast and the six-tailed beast. Occasionally, he would search for powerful ninjas in the Hidden Mist village to be used as pawns and helpers for the future Moon Eye plan. For Uchiha Obito, the Hidden Mist village was the source of Lin's death. It was good that he did not destroy this ninja village. How could he make this village flourish? The most important thing is that Uchiha Obito is not very good at these. Humph, another bunch of trash. Uchiha Obito finished reading a stack of ninja information and casually threw the information on the ground. I have been away for so many days, and only Hoshigaki Kisame's strength is still pretty good. This is the only person Uchiha Obito is satisfied with. Because Hoshigaki Kisame is straightforward and never compromises in executing orders from his superiors. At the same time, he has the blood of the Hoshigaki clan and his combat power is also very strong. Karaji Yagura looked down at the information thrown on the ground by Uchiha Obito, still standing there quietly without any movement. Uchiha Obito's fingers tapped lightly on the table, and he began to feel upset about his identity being exposed in Konoha village. Kakashi, that guy, would definitely look for his traces everywhere if he knew he was still alive. The Konoha high-level officials would definitely be wanted for him. The only good news is that the kid named Akihiro Kagura agreed to join him, but that kid was arrogant and domineering like a madman. He didn't even choose to become a trustworthy rebel ninja directly, but just claimed that he was willing to be his insider in Konoha. What a joke. Do I need an insider from Konoha village? Even if my identity is exposed, it will be easy for me to enter Konoha village. If I want to know any news, I can ask Zetsu to investigate secretly. Something happened. The figure of the pitcher plant monster slowly emerged from the ground. What's wrong? Uchiha Obito looked at it in surprise. The entire Kirigakure village is under his control. The fourth Mizukage, Kirutaji Yagura, is the most powerful person in Kirigakure village. Is there anything wrong here? A white Zetsu clone has brought a message. The wide half-face of the pitcher plant monster mechanically said the not-so-good news. Konoha has issued a wanted order for you in the ninja world. When it went to Konoha to secretly investigate intelligence, it found that Konoha village had sent people to the water country to investigate your whereabouts. I thought it was something else. Uchiha Obito sat calmly in his original place, snorted coldly and said, I have anticipated this matter. Let it pay attention to the situation in Akatsuki, lest the people there have second thoughts. After Uchiha Obito finished speaking, he looked at the fourth Mizukage Yagura Kiritochi who was motionless next to him, and ordered, Yagura, you go and order the Kirigakure Anbu to strengthen their vigilance. If you encounter Konoha spies who come to spy on intelligence, just kill them directly. It seems that ordinary ninjas can't do it. The wide half-face of the pitcher plant monster couldn't help laughing, and said slowly, the person who came is Hatake Kakashi. Kakashi, that waste. Uchiha Obito's tone was full of disdain. The white half of the pitcher plant monster's face smiled more and more happily, and continued to add, there are also Akihara Kagura and Uchiha Itachi. The wood escape of the kid Akihara is not easy to deal with. You almost fell into his hands. When was this news? Uchiha Obito's heart skipped a beat, and he looked at the pitcher plant monster with dissatisfaction. When you speak, don't just say half of it. 3 days ago the black half of the pitcher plant monster's face said in a hoarse voice, they have been on the road for at least 3 days, and they may be almost in the land of water, no big deal. Uchiha Obito thought that Akihara Kagura was his spy, and his heart slowly calmed down. This team that came to investigate his whereabouts immediately became easy to deal with. The problem is that Akihara Kagura didn't know that the Hidden Mist Village was the territory of his boss. If he knew that Konoha would send people to sneak into the Hidden Mist Village in the Land of Water to investigate his whereabouts, he should have discussed with his spy Akihara Kagura to prevent this unexpected thing from happening in advance. However, that kid may not be able to stop Konoha from sending people to sneak in here. I will have a good chat with that kid in the future. Konoha has issued its own wanted order, and sooner or later I will have the opportunity to use that kid. Yakura. Uchiha Obito thought for a while before reissuing his order to the fourth Mizukage Yagura Kiritochi. You will personally lead the team to block the coast, search for Konoha's spies, and do not allow any outsiders to enter the Land of Water. Second update. The Kaguya clan has a bug. When Momochi Zabuza fled with Haku, he met Kimimaro, and the Kaguya clan was dying. Here, I use the timeline set by being the mastermind from Naruto. The Kaguya clan should die in the next 2 or 3 years. I took a lot of notes at the time, so this should be correct. Chapter 65, Engage in Battle. The sea is endless. A ship is sailing towards the Land of Water against the waves. Akihara Kagura stands on the mast of the ship, looking at the sea in the distance. The sea breeze blows his long hair in the face. This is an experience he has never had in his life. Really energetic Hatake Kakashi is busy setting traps on the ship. He looks at Uchiha Itachi who is helping, and praises him for the rare time. If Kagura can learn half of your attitude towards life, we won't have to worry about that kid doing something extreme. Kagura-kun. Uchiha Itachi looked up at Akihara Kagura standing on the mast, remembered the exchange before the Chunin exam, shook his head and said, actually, he is a very pitiful person. That guy Hatake Kakashi remembered Akihara Kagura's life experience. Although Akihara Kagura has a very powerful wood-release bloodline, she cannot escape the fate of being controlled by others, and even her thoughts and actions are subject to the constraints of Danzo. Are you two talking about something rude? Akihara Kagura jumped down from the mast, as if she was a boss inspecting the work. I have good news for you. You don't have to work anymore. Huh? Hatake Kakashi stopped what he was doing, and asked in surprise, are we almost in the Land of Water? Did the Kirigakure ninja come to check? Almost. Akihara Kagura said ambiguously, and explained with a smile, we are indeed almost in the Land of Water, and the Kirigakure ninja didn't come to check either. It seems that we are very lucky. Uchiha Itachi breathed a sigh of relief. It should be considered good luck. Akihara Kagura continued slowly, according to my observation, the Kirigakure ninja did not plan to check the ship. There is probably a team of more than 30 people running straight towards the ship from the sea. Their attire should be the elite troops of the Kirigakure village. Prepare for battle. Hatake Kakashi's face changed, and the speed of setting traps in his hands became faster. At least they still have a chance to deal with the enemy on the ship. Uchiha Itachi deftly wrapped the wire around several shurikens, and raised his hand to scatter and fly the shurikens to nail them to the boat planks, creating a chain trap. Huh? Luckily I made it in time. Uchiha Itachi breathed a sigh of relief, lying on the bow and watching a group of Kirigakure ninjas running quickly from the sea, carefully observing the formation of the opposite side. Uchiha Itachi looked at a short figure in the Kirigakure team camp carrying a strange stick weapon rushing to the front, and recalled the memory of being taken by Uchiha Fugaku to visit the Ninja World War when he was 4 years old. There is a little kid on the opposite side. Don't underestimate him. Akihara Kagura stood beside Uchiha Itachi and said slowly, other mist ninjas are wearing masks, but he has nothing on his face, which means he doesn't need to hide his identity at all. He must be a big shot. Akihara Kagura looked at the mist ninja team in the distance dispersing under the command of the little kid, and continued, look, everyone else is still listening to his orders, and even when they accept commands, they are very respectful to him. That's... Uchiha Itachi also noticed the abnormality and said in a low voice, Captain Kakashi, Kagura-kun, am I seeing things? They seem to be calling that little kid Mizukage. A drop of cold sweat dripped from Hatake Kakashi's forehead, and his eyes looked at Akihara Kagura. The person who looks like a child is the Mizukage of the Mist Village. You guys are really right. We have the worst luck. Kakashi Hatake immediately made up his mind and said in a deep voice, you two run along the sea immediately, run as far as you can, I will stop them. Now is the critical moment. Kakashi Hatake realized that their trip was in danger. The battle took place on the sea, and the enemy was a group of Kirigakure Anbu who were good at water escape and the Mizukage of Kirigakure. No matter how Kakashi Hatake thought about it, he felt that it was impossible to beat the opponent. There might even be reinforcements from Kirigakure soon. It was good enough to let the two little guys escape. What was the situation in Kirigakure? Why did the leader of a village come out with the Anbu to check the ship? No wonder it has always been difficult for Konoha village to get information about Kirigakure. The Mizukage personally led the team to block the sea area, and no spy could bring back any news. The fourth-generation Mizukage Agura Kiridochi did not intend to check the ship that entered the country illegally. He took out the stick weapon with flowers from his back and raised his hand to press it on the sea. This Mizukage used water ninjutsu as easily as his own arm. When casting water ninjutsu, he didn't even need to make any hand seals. He easily released it with the help of his weapon. Even the effect of his technique was a little different from that of ordinary water ninjutsu ninjas. Water ninjutsu, water rush wave. The sea surface suddenly shook. Groups of waves rose from the sea continuously and rushed towards the ship. Kyuji Yagura didn't care who was on the ship. He wanted to overturn the ship directly and let his subordinates catch people in the water. Water ninjutsu, water array wall. Hatake Kakashi instantly landed on the sea surface, quickly put his hands together and made hand seals. A tall water wall quickly floated on the sea surface, constantly resisting the oncoming waves. Hatake Kakashi. The Kirigakure ninjas immediately recognized Hatake Kakashi's identity. You guys go. While fending off Yagura, Hatake Kakashi ordered in a deep voice, Kagura, Itachi, you two, escape from other directions. You can't escape. Uchiha Itachi looked at a group of Kirigakure Anbu ninjas who were surrounding him, shook his head and said, we can't escape their pursuit on the sea. Besides, we can't let Senior Kakashi fall into danger. Uchiha Itachi drew out the ninja sword behind him, and said with a firm face, we stay and fight with Senior Kakashi. As soon as the voice fell, the three Magatama Sharingan in Uchiha Itachi's eyes flashed, and he quietly waited for the group of Kirigakure Anbu ninjas to rush to the boat. With the help of the Sharingan and the traps on the boat, Uchiha Itachi may not be without the power to fight the enemy. The only trouble is that there are too many enemies. In a blink of an eye, 3 or 4 Kirigakure Anbu jumped onto the boat first. These Kirigakure ninjas, who often kill as a daily routine, saw that there were only 2 little guys left on the boat, and they couldn't help laughing. Akihara Kagura pulled out the standard ninja sword of the Anbu from behind her, and rushed towards the direction of the mist ninjas. The sea is not suitable for the performance of the wood release technique. Once a big tree grows on the ship that Hatake Kakashi wants to protect will capsize first. Kagura-kun. Uchiha Itachi is full of confidence in Akihara Kagura, his teammate. He believes that this opponent who once defeated him in the Chunin exam must have superb swordsmanship. Reality is often outrageous. Akihara Kagura's swordsmanship is too poor. Akihara Kagura's swordsmanship was knocked away by a mist ninja in less than 3 moves, and she even had to grab the opponent's ninja sword with her bare hands. Akihara Kagura only felt a moment of pain in her palm, and the chakra in her body quickly became active. A cool and numb feeling came from the wound. The wound was healing rapidly, and the healing ability of Hashirame's cells was quite amazing. This brat. The Kurigakure ninja looked at the boy who was holding the sharp blade as if he had no sense of pain in some amazement. The boy grabbed the enemy's ninja sword with one hand, turned his palm quickly closer, raised his hand and slapped the enemy's chest, and a wooden thorn instantly exploded in the enemy's body. First update. I have to speed up. Chapter 66, there is a gap between the Sharingan, the wood release, and the tailed beasts. On the deck, blood splattered. The first enemy died under the wood release. Akihara Kagura flew back, raised his hand and raised his finger. 2 vines emerged from the deck. The 2 Kurigakure ninjas who rushed over quickly tried to retreat and avoid them. One of them was inevitably unable to avoid it and was pierced through the body by the vines in an instant. Wood release ninjutsu. You little brat is a wood release ninja. The Kurigakure ninja who escaped looked at Akihara Kagura in shock. The ninjas more or less had to know a piece of history, that is, the ninja god Senju Hashirama relied on the power of wood release to end the chaotic warring states period with one hand. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi wielded the ninja sword and confronted another Kurigakure ninja. Even with the advantage of the Sharingan, Uchiha Itachi had to admit that the enemy was really difficult to deal with. He was facing the elite ninja of the Kurigakure Sharingan. This brat is from the Uchiha clan. The Kurigakure ninjas were no strangers to the Sharingan. The Uchiha clan had always participated in their wars with Konoha, but the wood release brats were rare items. Catch those 2 brats. Kill them, and leave no future troubles. Except for the team that went to support the 4th Mazuka Jagura, the other teams all surrounded the ship where Uchiha Itachi and Akihara Kagura were. Vines emerged from the ship one by one. The entire ship was like an octopus with huge tentacles. All the Kurigakure ninjas who wanted to get close to the ship were forced back by the vines, and even the 2 fish that were still fighting on the ship were pulled out by the thick vines. Water release, water rush wave. A group of Kurigakure ninjas gathered together neatly, put their hands together and made seals at the same time, and spit out waves of water in the direction of the ship. The vines closed up instantly. Akihara Kagura controlled the thick vines to gather and surround the entire ship into a hollow wooden ball, resisting the water ninjutsu released by the mist ninjas. The entire hollow wooden ball kept floating on the sea, but it was not broken by the water ninjutsu of these mist ninjas. Don't stop. Attack them with all your strength. Those 2 little ghosts can only hide in sight and get beaten. The mist ninjas were already in an advantageous position, so they were naturally unwilling to stop, and even use their own strongest techniques to seal again. What should we do? Uchiha Itachi hid in the defensive circle of the vines and asked softly, if we let them attack outside then they can't break the defense of wood release. But Uchiha Itachi showed worry and raised a key question. Senior Kakashi is still outside. What if they go to besiege Senior Kakashi first? The 2 of them can still avoid danger under the defense of wood release, but what if a group of mist ninjas and a Mizukage outside join forces to attack Hatake Kakashi? Hatake Kakashi may not be able to withstand it. Hatake Kakashi has been unable to withstand it for a long time. Just the water ninjutsu of the 4th Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, was enough to make Hatake Kakashi a little exhausted. He felt that he might be submerged by the water ninjutsu at any time. Whether it was chakra or water ninjutsu, the 4th Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, could use it at will. Hatake Kakashi knew that he could never be his opponent on the sea. Hatake Kakashi panted, staring at Yagura Karuta, who didn't even have a change in his breathing, and a sense of despair slowly surged in his heart. We need to rescue Senior Kakashi. Uchiha Itachi observed the situation outside through the gaps in the vines and continued, the environment here is not conducive to our battle. The sea is the home of water-style ninjas. I feel that Senior Kakashi is about to collapse. Then let's make this our home. Akihara Kagura stretched out her palm and pressed on a vine. The huge chakra flowed along the vine, and vines and tree roots extended under the water. Watch your feet. Watch your feet. At this moment, A mist ninja suddenly saw a black shadow suddenly appear under the sea under his feet. He was so scared that he shouted to remind others with a horrified face. However, there was no time to stop it. Countless thick branches floated out from under the sea, like a densely woven fishing net, turning this area into the home of vines and tree roots. Everyone was forced to stand on the vines. Vines quickly entangled the bodies of the mist ninjas, tied them all up, and even continued to absorb their chakra. Plants created by wood release. They never rely on roots to absorb nutrients from the earth, but obtain life energy for growth from the chakra of wood release ninjas. Akihara Kagura untied the defensive vines wrapped around the ship, and calmly looked at the new battlefield she created. Where I am, there are the roots. Uchiha Itachi felt that this sentence was ambiguous. However, no matter what, Akihara Kagura defended in advance to buy time, and used this gap to control a wood release to change the situation of the battle. At least they and Kakashi would be safe. Before that, there was a most troublesome enemy to deal with. The fourth Mizukage, Kiruta Yagura, had already jumped up from the vines and jumped quickly to the safe sea. His body in the air was also changing rapidly, and a ball of scarlet violent chakra quickly covered his whole body. That is, Uchiha Itachi couldn't help but widen his eyes. Tailed Beast Jinchuriki. Hatake Kakashi flew and landed beside them, answering the question in a deep voice. The Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village is a tailed beast Jinchuriki. I wonder what is inside him. Bang! The transformation of the fourth Mizukage Yagura Kyujitochi has not yet ended. As the chakra of the Mizukage became more and more violent, three tails covered with thorns first emerged from behind him. The next moment, when Yagura Kyujitochi's body jumped into the sea, his body completely completed the complete transformation of the tailed beast. A huge monster covered with thick shells and covered with thorns all over the body, like a turtle, floated on the water. This is the three-tailed beast. Hatake Kakashi's breathing became heavy again. At the beginning, Nahara Rin was implanted with a three-tailed beast by the Hidden Mist Village. Unexpectedly, this time he came to the Hidden Mist Village and saw the true face of the three-tailed beast. A tailed beast comparable to the nine-tailed beast. Uchiha Itachi recalled the pain of the nine-tailed rebellion in Konoha village. There are also differences between the tailed beasts, right? Akihara Kagura felt that there was still some distance between the nine tails and the three tails, and even gave an example. Maybe just like there are differences between me and squad leader Tenzo, wood release ninjas, there are also differences between you and Uchiha Shisu. Sharingan Hatake Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi both looked at Akihara Kagura. It has to be said that the two metaphors Akihara Kagura said are actually quite accurate, but they are not very friendly to the two of them. Don't look at me like that. Akihara Kagura raised her head and looked at the huge three tails again, and said, do you think that the Mizukage of the Mist Village has a problem with his thinking, that he actually turned into a tailed beast in front of us? Hasn't he heard about the story of the first Hokage catching tailed beasts and selling them for money? The first Hokage is not that superficial. Hatake Kakashi thought for a while, and said slowly, maybe in the eyes of the Mizukage, there is also a gap between you and the first Hokage's wood release second update. I really want to use limited Tsuku Iomi on people. Chapter 67 Improved Wood Dragon. Captured three-tailed dragon. You make a lot of sense. Akihara Kagura agreed with what Hatake Kakashi said, raised her hand and raised her finger, and the vines on the sea surface began to gather quickly. Then let it see. How big is the gap between me and the first generation Hokage's wood release? Roar. The three-tailed beast roared, and its tail slammed heavily on the sea surface. In this sea, even if the most terrifying nine-tailed beast in the ninja world came, it would not be afraid. Wave after wave of waves surged towards Akihara Kagura. Wood release, wood dragon technique. A wood dragon swam out against the waves. Akihara Kagura stood on the top of the wood dragon, and could only try her best to control the wood dragon to rush left and right in the waves, so as not to be washed away by the overwhelming waves. This is the power of the tailed beast. Uchiha Itachi stood behind Akihara Kagura, unable to hide his shock. Water escape will be greatly enhanced at sea. Hatake Kakashi stood beside them and explained, besides, the three-tailed beast is the best at water escape ninjutsu among the nine-tailed beasts in legend. Hatake Kakashi's eyes were more focused on the huge wooden dragon under him. Even if you have seen this technique, you will still be shocked when you see it again. Hold on. Akihara Kagura looked back at the two tourists watching the sea, raised her hand and controlled the huge wooden dragon to rush towards the huge three-tailed beast. Next, it's the most beautiful show. Roar. The three-tailed beast roared and looked at the rushing wooden dragon. Groups of tiny chakras gathered quickly in front of the three-tailed beast like dust, and gradually condensed into a purple-black ball. This is the tailed beast Jade. According to the ratio of 2:8, the yin and yang attributes of the tailed beast chakra are condensed, which can be transformed into the most powerful and simplest technique that the tailed beast can release. Fortunately, the speed at which the three-tailed beast condenses the tailed beast Jade is not fast. Akihara Kagura suddenly closed her palms, and the wooden dragon's head slowly changed. A pair of wooden dragon horns grew on its head, and its mouth also grew rapidly. Its body slowly grew thick roots, which quickly gathered into 4 huge dragon claws. The appearance of this wooden dragon was no longer the same as the wood dragon technique of the first Hokage. Instead, it looked more like the Eastern dragon in the legend of Akihara Kagura's previous life. This is. Hatake Kakashi looked around curiously. Oh, I'm trying to improve the wood dragon technique. After Akihara Kagura's wood release bloodline limit was further evolved, he had been looking for an opportunity to develop a bloodline limit. Now he was just making preliminary improvements to the shape of the wood dragon technique. This is a battle. Hatake Kakashi's eyelids twitched, and he couldn't help but say, is it really okay to improve ninjutsu during a battle? The technique that the three-tail is about to release is very dangerous. Akihara Kagura calmly interrupted Hatake Kakashi's words, so this is a necessary improvement based on the technique it is about to release. When the wood dragon swam quickly to the three-tail finally condensed the tailed beast Jade, and instantly sprayed the tailed beast Jade towards the wood dragon's head. Be careful. Hatake Kakashi grabbed Akihara Kagura and Uchiha Itachi tightly, wanting to jump off the wood dragon's head with the two little guys. Don't worry. Akihara Kagura's face remained calm. The wood dragon suddenly raised its dragon body, raised a huge dragon claw to grab the tailed beast Jade, and pressed it in the direction of the three-tail like holding a ball. The wood dragon's dragon claw tightly grasped the tailed beast Jade, constantly absorbing the chakra in the tailed beast Jade, and controlling the rhythm of the tailed beast Jade explosion. Under the claws of the wood dragon, the shape of the tailed beast Jade slowly turned into a glowing ball of light, which could blow up everything around it at any time. The wood dragon grabbed the tailed beast Jade that was about to explode and pressed it tightly on the three-tailed beast. The light of the explosion instantly became dazzling. Boom! The entire sea surface trembled. The three-tailed beast was blown up by its own tailed beast Jade and screamed in pain. The 3 people standing on the top of the wood dragon were also swayed by the airwaves. The wood dragon seemed to have not been injured at all, and slowly wrapped its body around the three-tailed beast, tightly wrapping its body. The three-tailed beast struggled violently. The 2 behemoths fought and killed each other on the sea. The three-tailed beast swung the 3 tails behind it violently, and the 3 tails hit the wood dragon's body like a hammer, breaking a part of the wood dragon's body and splashing a large piece of broken wood. However, the wood dragon's body was recovering rapidly. Because it was not a summoned creature, but was transformed by the wood release chakra, and its body could recover quickly under the flow of wood release chakra. Countless vines and tree roots grew out of the wood dragon's tail, tying up the 3 tails of the three-tailed beast to prevent the tailed beast from causing any more trouble. The three-tailed beast's chakra was quickly absorbed by the wood dragon. The reason why wood release is called the nemesis of the tailed beast is that wood release can absorb the chakra of the tailed beast, and the combat power of the tailed beast will become weaker and weaker. The three-tailed beast shook its head desperately, still wanting to do something in the predicament. Its body was twisting violently and wanted to flip into the sea. The wood dragon's head quickly approached the three-tailed beast, and a dragon claw suddenly stretched out from under its body, directly locking the three-tailed beast's throat, making its head unable to move. The three-tailed beast could no longer make any moves. The battle is over. When the wood dragon subdued the three-tailed beast, Akihara Kagura announced the end of the battle. Not all tailed beasts can resist the wood dragon's technique. As expected, the three-tailed beast's strength became weaker and weaker under the wood dragon's ability to absorb chakra. This huge-tailed beast could not hold on for less than a few minutes under the attack of the wood dragon, and was directly suppressed completely, and could not do anything to resist. If the 4th Mizukage Kagura Karuta fought in human form, Kagura Akihara would have to spend more time and effort. However, when facing Kagura Akihara's wood release, Yagura Karuta actually thought that he could fight with his strongest tailed beast form. Bang! A cloud of smoke rose. The 3 tails gradually lost its strength, and its huge body disappeared in an instant. The short figure of the 4th Mizukage Kagura Karuta appeared, and the Mizukage lay weakly on the sea, unable to move. Is it over so soon? Hatake Kakashi had an inexplicable feeling. Is it over so soon? Uchiha Itachi's words were exactly the same as Kakashi Hatake's. Originally, the two of them thought that the Three Tails and the Wood Dragon would have to go through a hard battle, but they didn't expect that Kagura Akihira's Wood Dragon would really solve the Three Tails so quickly. Don't think this is easy. This is because I improved the Wood Dragon technique. Kagura Akihira was quite satisfied with his improved Wood Dragon technique. If he hadn't temporarily improved the shape of the Wood Dragon, the tailed beast ball that was so close would have been troublesome enough. Akihira Kagura raised her finger and continued to control the vines that grew out of the Wood Dragon's body, tying up the fourth Mizukage Agura Karadachi on the sea, and slowly brought the vines in front of the three of them. Hatake Kakashi was silent. This matter seemed to have suddenly become tricky. Because they were originally supposed to carry out the mission of searching for Uchiha Obito's whereabouts in the Hidden Mist Village, but they hadn't done the reconnaissance mission yet, so how could they capture the leader of the Hidden Mist Village first? The problem is, now that the Mizukage has been captured by them, do they have to sneak into the Hidden Mist Village to continue their reconnaissance? Let's solve the trouble in front of us first. Akihira Kagura looked at Hatake Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi. This Mizukage has no way to resist. Can you control him with illusion? Otherwise, he will make trouble on the road. The fourth generation Mizukage Agura Karuta tried his best to open his eyes wide and stared at Akihira Kagura. It seemed that this Mizukage was not looking at a demon, but a lifesaver. First update. What is a wolf's den and what is a tiger's den? Chapter 6080 has to thank us. Due to the defeat in this battle, the fourth Mizukage Agura Karuta felt that the chakra in his body was almost exhausted, and even the hypnotic technique that controlled himself and the three tails in his body was somewhat loose. This is undoubtedly an opportunity. An opportunity to unlock the control of the Sharingan. Even though the fourth Mizukage Agura Karuta knew that Akihira Kagura and Hatake Kakashi were enemies from Konoha, according to the order of the mysterious masked man asking him to come to stop the Konoha ninja, Yagura Karuta guessed that the other party and the mysterious masked man were not in the same group. As long as they are not a group of enemies, it will be fine. For Yagura Karuta, letting him live and continue to sit in the position of the fourth Mizukage is more uncomfortable than letting him die. What worse thing can happen in this world? Let me do it. Hatake Kakashi took the initiative to step forward and volunteer. Although Uchiha Itachi is the real Uchiha clan, Hatake Kakashi is older and has used the Sharingan for a longer time. Hatake Kakashi took off his eye mask, revealing scarlet eyes, three black Magatama reflected in his eyes, staring closely at the fourth Mizukage Agura in front of him. The next moment, Hatake Kakashi's face suddenly changed. Hatake Kakashi looked at the fourth Mizukage Agura and said in surprise, "This is a Sharingan illusion that someone has cast on him a long time ago." What? Akihira Kagura's face also showed a touch of surprise at the right time. How is it possible? Uchiha Itachi also looked at the fourth Mizukage Agura with a face full of shock, and said in disbelief, "Is there anyone who can cast an illusion on the Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village?" But this is the fact. There is no need to speculate too much. Hatake Kakashi guessed that it was Uchiha Obito who did it, and immediately lifted the illusion of the fourth Mizukage Agura. "Thank you." The fourth Mizukage Agura woke up. The first thing the Mizukage did when he woke up was to thank them. "Ah, you're welcome." Kakashi Hatake felt a little embarrassed and took the initiative to ask, "Mirakutani, it was Obito who cast an illusion on you, right?" "Who is Obito?" The fourth Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, rubbed his forehead, still a little confused about the situation. He didn't know what the man wearing the mysterious mask looked like. "It's just a guy wearing a mask." Akihira Kagura quickly reminded him from the side, and added, "That person always wears a mask, and only one Sharingan is exposed outside the mask." Oh, the fourth Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, immediately reacted and nodded, "Yes, he always wears a tiger stripe mask on his face to hide his true face. Is Obito in the Hidden Mist Village?" Kakashi Hatake immediately asked the question that concerned him most. "Still here." The fourth Mizukage Karuta Yagura nodded quickly and asked, "Do you know him?" "He's a ninja from Konoha, right?" Hatake Kakashi was still a little embarrassed and seemed unable to refute, so he could only explain softly, "His name is Uchiha Obito and he is a traitor ninja from our Konoha." Although Hatake Kakashi didn't want to admit it, Konoha would definitely list Uchiha Obito as a traitor ninja, and he couldn't say that Uchiha Obito was still a legitimate ninja from Konoha. A ninja from Konoha? The fourth Mizukage Karuta Yagura seemed to have some hidden meaning in his words. Hey, little brat. Akihara Kagura tapped his fingers and knocked hard on the head of the fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura. Face up to the reality. You are a prisoner of our Konoha. The fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura, covered the back of his head, looked back at Akihara Kagura, glared at him. Little brat, I may be older than your father. The fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura, is a child with a very childish look. In fact, he is already very old. He even has a son. What a child. Akihara Kagura squatted down with interest and stroked his forehead. Children like to act like adults in a fierce manner. Hiss. The fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura, immediately grinned and revealed a ferocious look. Ha! Akihara Kagura looked at the fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura, with a smile, which made the Mizukage even angrier. You act more like a child this way. Okay. Hatake Kakashi quickly grabbed Akihara Kagura and asked, Mr. Mizukage, can you take us to find Obito? We want to bring him back to Konoha. The fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura, frowned. In fact, this Mizukage wanted to kill Uchiha Obito even more. That guy controlled him and killed so many people in the Hidden Mist village, forcing many outstanding ninjas to defect. The fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura, became angrier and angrier the more he thought about it, and even forgot that he was still under the control of the Konoha ninjas. I'll go back and kill him, and I can give the body to you. Hatake Kakashi couldn't help but be a little speechless. Did he come to the Hidden Mist village to investigate Uchiha Obito's whereabouts and track his whereabouts, just to keep Uchiha Obito alive? Why don't you realize the situation yet? Akihara Kagura patted his head, turned to look at Hatake Kakashi. Captain Kakashi, why are you asking him so many questions? Let's go capture Uchiha Obito first, and then bring him back to Konoha together with the Mizukage. Come out for a while, we have to bring some spoils back, right? Hatake Kakashi really didn't expect this. Because their original purpose was to find out the whereabouts of Uchiha Obito, but they didn't expect to find his trace so quickly, and for a while they didn't think about bringing the fourth Mizukage Yagura Karuta back. After all, this is the Mizukage of the Hidden Mist village. If they want to take him back, the ninjas of the Hidden Mist village will probably go crazy. Can they stop the Mist ninjas attacking from all directions? What's more, it has only been a few years since the Third Ninja World War officially ended. Konoha and the Hidden Mist village will definitely start a war again. This will cause big trouble for the village, right? You want to take me back to Konoha as a prisoner? The face of the fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura, suddenly turned ugly. He originally thought that everyone wanted to deal with Uchiha Obito, and they should be people who could work together. If this group of Konoha ninjas really thought so, then the Hidden Mist village would probably be nailed to the pillar of shame. Throughout the wars, there has never been a village cage being captured. Because the village cage will only die in battle. In all the wars, many cages died, but there has never been a prisoner. Why can't we take you to Konoha? Akihara Kagura was a little curious, looked at him in surprise and continued, You, the Mizukage, have been controlled by Uchiha Obito, and you must not have made much contribution to the Hidden Mist village when you were alive. Maybe it's a good thing for the Hidden Mist village if we take you as a prisoner. The fourth Mizukage, Karuta Yagura, was speechless. The brat was right. It was actually much better for him to be a prisoner of Konoha than to stay in the Hidden Mist village, because he was too ashamed to face the villagers. No. The fourth Mizukage, Yagura Karuta's eyes suddenly became fierce, and he said coldly, I have a better choice. I can also choose to die. Do you want to die here? Akihara Kagura was stunned for a moment, and suddenly gave Yagura Karuta a thumbs up, as if admiring the other party's idea. The Hidden Mist village must think that we killed their Mizukage, so can the two villages go to war? I like killing people, and there is no limit to killing on the battlefield. As Akihara Kagura spoke, he took out his ninja sword, looked at the fourth Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, and smiled. This is a good idea, I'll send you on your way. Second update. It's a bit late. Don't be anxious, don't panic, I'm repairing. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69. He didn't hate us originally, but now he hates us. Hey, calm down. When Hatake Kakashi heard the reason why Akihara Kagura wanted to kill the fourth Mizukage, Kirutaji Yagura, he was suddenly caught off guard and hurriedly grabbed Akihara Kagura's wrist. Calm down, Kagura-kun. Uchiha Itachi was also scared and hurriedly stopped Akihara Kagura. After all, Uchiha Itachi was taken to the battlefield by his father when he was 4 years old, and he knew clearly how bloody the Ninja World War was. Why is this temporary teammate so extreme? Are all the root ninjas under Shimura Danzo these characters who want to kill people at every turn and are afraid that the world will not be in chaos? The fourth Mizukage Kirutaji Yagura was also frightened by Akihara Kagura's train of thought. Why does this kid want to start a war so lightly? The fourth Mizukage Yagura Kirutachi's idea of committing suicide was instantly dispelled. His existence had always been a disaster, and he could not bring a war to the Hidden Mist village before he died. Don't forget our mission. Hatake Kakashi tightly grasped Akihara Kagura's wrist, and continued to persuade in a deep voice, Kagura, we still need him to help us find Obito. Akihara Kagura's eyes flashed, and he said in a deep voice, anyway, we already know that Uchiha Obito is in the land of water. The battle just now is so loud that Uchiha Obito probably noticed it and ran away. There is no need to keep this Mizukage. Hatake Kakashi frowned, but quickly reacted and continued, we can bring His Excellency the Mizukage back to Konoha, but how to deal with the Mizukage is a matter of great importance, and can only be handled by the third Hokage. The purpose of stopping Akihara Kagura is not only to find Uchiha Obito, but more to prevent a war between the Hidden Mist village and Konoha. And Kakashi Hatake looked towards the land in the distance, thinking, even if Obito didn't escape, it would be difficult for us to sneak in for reconnaissance now. The battle just now is so loud that the Hidden Mist village must have realized that there was an invasion by foreign enemies and must be on high alert. In this situation, if they go to the Hidden Mist village for reconnaissance, the possibility of finding Uchiha Obito is very small, but if they don't go to the Hidden Mist village for reconnaissance, they feel unwilling to do so. What if Uchiha Obito is still hiding in the Hidden Mist village? Akihara Kagura raised his hand and pointed at the fourth Mizukage Kirutaji and put forward his own proposal. We hang up this Mizukage and let him go to the Hidden Mist village to knock on the door. Order the ninjas of the Hidden Mist village not to resist. We will search the Hidden Mist village. A drop of cold sweat flowed from Kakashi Hatake's forehead. He reached out and wiped his forehead. Wait, this doesn't look like reconnaissance behavior, does it? Aren't search and reconnaissance the same? Akihara Kagura raised his eyebrows and continued, anyway, the snake has been alerted, and there will be no results. It's just a quick check. Let's do it in any way that is convenient. When Akihara Kagura said this, he added, Captain Kakashi, even if we hide our identities and let this Mizukage lead us to sneak into the Hidden Mist village, who knows if he will suddenly reveal our identities and put us in danger. Akihara Kagura spread his hands and concluded, instead of this, it is better for us to expose our identities ourselves and use this Mizukage to threaten the Hidden Mist village to open the door for us to search. This will cause a conflict between Konoha and the Hidden Mist village. Uchiha Itachi stood by and spoke, worried that he would cause trouble for the village. We have all captured the Mizukage. Akihara Kagura sighed and looked at the fourth Mizukage, Kiruta Yagura. Do you think this Mizukage will forget the humiliation he suffered today? The fourth Mizukage, Kiruta Yagura, did not want to talk. In fact, the fourth Mizukage, Kiruta Yagura, did not hate Hatake Kakashi and his gang, and even thanked them for helping to remove the illusion. But this kid named Akihara Kagura spoke too harshly. The fourth Mizukage, Kiruta Yagura, did not think that being captured was a bad thing, but after Akihara Kagura said this, Kiruta Yagura suddenly felt that he was indeed a little humiliated. Look, Akihara Kagura pointed at Kiruta Yagura's face and motioned for them to look. This Mizukage has begun to hate us now. Hatake Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi looked at the same time. The fourth Mizukage Yagura Kiruta's expression was slightly broken, and a cross almost appeared on his forehead, but he couldn't say the words to forgive them. If he said that he didn't feel humiliated, it would be too embarrassing. Let's go. Let's go search the Hidden Mist village. Akihara Kagura raised his hand and controlled a vine to hang up the fourth Mizukage Yagura Kiruta again, and controlled the wooden dragon to swim towards the land. The land of water. On a reef on the coast. Uchiha Obito has been observing the battle on the beach. Uchiha Obito sent the fourth Mizukage Yagura Kiruta to stop Hatake Kakashi's team because there was no ninja stronger than Yagura Kiruta in the Hidden Mist village. Not long after, Uchiha Obito saw a scene of a wooden dragon capturing the three-tailed beast. The elite troops of the Hidden Mist village led by the 4th Mizukage Agura Kiruta were all defeated by Hatake Kakashi and others, and the main combatant was his spy Akihara Kagura. If I had known earlier, I should have had a good talk with that brat. Would release. The pitcher plant monster stood next to Uchiha Obito, and the black half-face said in a hoarse voice, "That brat solved the three-tails Jinchuriki so quickly. The matter of the Hidden Mist village is about to be exposed." The white half-face said with a smile, and looked at Uchiha Obito, "It turns out that he is one of ours, and he solved the 4th Mizukage who is under our control. Obito, we must pay attention to that brat." The black half-face continued in a hoarse voice grimly, "The Moon Eye Project needs his power, and his wood release is so easy to use to capture the tailed beasts." "I know." Uchiha Obito glanced at the pitcher plant monster next to him, and said in a deep voice, "Zitu, send a white Zetsu clone to follow the kid Akihara Kagura, so that he can contact us at any time to avoid any conflicts." Uchiha Obito felt that he had made a mistake. "From now on, I must pay attention to that brat and establish a channel of communication with him, so that the brat will not hurt my men again." Similarly, the identity of Konoha's spy is really important. As the most powerful village in the ninja world, Konoha really can't be underestimated. It is necessary to let Akihara Kagura's spy identity play a role and change the judgment of Hatake Kakashi and Konoha, so that Konoha will not really find out something and affect their plan. "Okay." The pitcher plant monster nodded quickly. "Send a smarter white Zetsu." The black half of the pitcher plant monster calmly reminded, "Don't send a fool like a Fae. That brat likes to kill people and is a bit lawless." "I understand." The white half of the pitcher plant monster agreed, and asked Uchiha Obito again, "Do you still want to go back to the Hidden Mist village? The fact that we control the Hidden Mist village should have been completely exposed." "Huh?" Uchiha Obito snorted coldly, and waves of time and space vortexes appeared in his eyes, sucking his body in instantly. "This was my mistake. Let Kakashi use Kagura to win. Next time, Kagura won't help him. That loser will never have this kind of luck again." First update. Please collect and read. Chapter 70 to Rumi May. The Land of Water. The sentry post of the Hidden Mist village. A group of Hidden Mist ninjas on duty looked at the wooden dragon on the seashore in a somewhat collapsed state, and looked even more collapsed at the 4th Mizukage Agura Kiruta hanging by vines between the two dragon horns of the wooden dragon. Akihara Kagura stood on the head of the wooden dragon and said slowly, "Mirakage, order them to get out of the way. You don't want to see them sacrifice in vain, do you?" The 4th Mizukage Agura Kiruta looked at the group of mist ninjas standing below. The only leader was a Chunin, who could not possibly compete with Akihara Kagura and his group. "Get out of the way." The 4th Mizukage Agura Kiruta shouted his order with a face full of humiliation. "Mirakage." A group of mist ninjas looked at the 4th Mizukage excitedly. "I said, get out of the way." The 4th Mizukage Agura Kiruta gave his order again. Yes, this group of mist ninjas could only disperse according to the order, looking at the wooden dragon swimming towards the Hidden Mist village with anger on their faces. "Call the Mizukage." Akihara Kagura softly admired the might of the 4th Mizukage. Asshole, the 4th Mizukage Agura was so angry that he cursed. The news that the 4th Mizukage Agura was captured quickly spread to the Hidden Mist village. The leaderless mist ninjas could only ask the village's master to take charge of the situation. Master. In terms of position, he's equivalent to an elder of the Hidden Mist village, but this elder has the same power as the Mizukage, and even has the power to appoint the Mizukage. The master immediately issued an order to rescue the Mizukage. No matter what, rescuing Yagura is the first priority. After all, the 4th Mizukage is not only the leader of the village, but also the most important tailed beast Jinchuriki for the village, and he must not be lost. The opponent they are facing is a wood-release ninja. Just because the opponent is too powerful, will they let the opponent wreak havoc in the water country? When Akihara Kagura was about to reach the Hidden Mist village while controlling the wooden dragon, he encountered a group of ninja troops who were ordered by the Hidden Mist village's master to rescue the 4th Mizukage. There are so many people. Akihara Kagura looked at a group of mist ninjas inside. There are at least hundreds of people. It will take a long time to kill them all. Don't always think about killing people to solve problems. Hatake Kakashi looked at Akihara Kagura helplessly and said softly, "If we can solve the problem through negotiation, it would be the best. After all, the other party is one of the 5 major ninja villages." If they really fight to the death with us, it will be a big trouble. Release the Mizukage. A man who looked like a captain stood in the middle of the road, staring at the huge wooden dragon, and shouted at the huge wooden dragon, "Otherwise, I will let you die today." Bang! A female ninja kicked him out. Idiot. The female ninja cursed the captain inwardly. The most powerful Mizukage in the village was captured by the other party, and they still wanted to threaten the other party. Do they want to sacrifice the fourth Mizukage directly? But this is not a bad thing. After all, the fourth Mizukage Yagirakuruta was not in a clear mind. He killed people everywhere in the village and even forced many ninjas in the village to rebel, causing many conflicts in the Hidden Mist village. But no matter what, Yagirakuruta was the Mizukage of the Hidden Mist village after all. He represented the image of the Hidden Mist village and even sealed the tail beast, a strategic weapon that was extremely important to the village. No matter how bad the fourth Mizukage's governing policy was, it was still very important for the Hidden Mist village, which was leaderless. Everyone did not approve of his way of governing the Hidden Mist village, but everyone had to admit that the fourth Mizukage Yagirakuruta was enough to control the Hidden Mist village. Although after today, it might not be possible. Hey! This female ninja was more clear-headed. She was more thoughtful than others. She just shouted to the figures on the wooden dragon, "Let's talk about it. What is your purpose in coming to the land of water? No matter what you want to do, as long as you release the Mizukage first, we will consider your request." That's Madarumi. The fourth Mizukage Yagirakuruta recognized the person who rescued him. As a talented female ninja from the Hidden Mist village, Madarumi has received a lot of attention since she was a child. Not only does she have amazing attainments in water-style ninjutsu, she even has bloodline limits for melting and boiling styles. However, due to the fact that the effect of Madarumi's bloodline limit is too scary, and there are many conflicts between bloodline ninjas and non-bloodline ninjas in the Hidden Mist village, few people dare to pursue her. Do you want to negotiate with him? Uchiha Itachi looked at Hatake Kakashi and Akihara Kagura. If the problem can be solved through negotiation, Hatake Kakashi has never wanted to have a bigger conflict with the Hidden Mist village, but the idea of this little guy Akihara Kagura is so positive that people even think what he said makes sense. But now the situation seems to be a little out of control. Let me talk. Akihara Kagura suddenly stood up, looking down at the group of mist ninjas below, and said loudly, "If you want us to release the Mizukage, there are two conditions, either one will do." Akihara Kagura stroked his chin and continued with a smile, "Either hand over the Konoha traitor Uchiha Obito, or let us go in and search the Hidden Mist village and find out where he is." Madarumi breathed a sigh of relief and immediately turned around and asked, "Ayo, have any Konoha traitors come to us recently? Or are they from the Uchiha clan? Send someone to the village to check if there is a Konoha traitor named Uchiha Obito." "There is no such person." Ayo, who has been in control of the intelligence, lowered his head and answered. "The Hidden Mist village is isolated overseas, and the name of the Blood Mist village is too scary, so no one has been willing to come here to surrender. The Konoha traitor named Uchiha Obito came from the Uchiha clan of Konoha. Ao will definitely remember the news about this powerful family in the ninja world." "I see." After Madarumi nodded, she turned back to look at the head of the wood dragon, staring at the black-haired boy who stood out, and began to make up her own information. "Because of your arrival, the Konoha rebel ninja named Uchiha Obito escaped from the Hidden Mist village. He stole a lot of information in the Hidden Mist village, and we are also chasing his whereabouts on the head of the wood dragon." Hatake Kakashi held his forehead and whispered, "Sure enough, our battle alarmed Obito, and he has escaped from the Hidden Mist village maybe." Akihara Kagura glanced at Madarumi below, and continued loudly, "If you can't hand over Uchiha Obito, then why should we return the Mizukage to you? You are Konoha's ninjas, right?" Madarumi looked up at the boy, and suddenly smiled softly. "Little guy, our two villages both want to capture Uchiha Obito, and it's useless for you to capture the Mizukage now. Mutual cooperation and exchange of information is the most advantageous choice on the head of the wood dragon." Hatake Kakashi nodded slowly and said softly, "She has a point. We have cracked Uchiha Obito's conspiracy to control the Mizukage and obtained information about Obito from the Hidden Mist village. The purpose of this trip has been achieved. Maybe it has been achieved. In fact, Akihara Kagura's purpose has also been achieved. For Akihara Kagura, as long as she cracked Uchiha Obito's conspiracy and made Uchiha Obito learn to value the energy that she can bring as a spy, it would be enough. But it's a bit strange. How could Madarumi have information about Uchiha Obito? Uchiha Obito was active as a mysterious masked man when he was acting. Even if she found out, she wouldn't be able to recognize him, right? Akihiro Kagura's brain was working, using the darkness of the ninja world to secretly observe the situation of Madarumi and eavesdrop on what Madarumi was communicating with the people around her. Madarumi continued to shout at the wooden dragon, "Konoha ninjas, can you let go of Mizuki-sama? I can go up and tell you the information about Uchiha Obito first." After Terumi finished speaking, she turned around and looked at Queen behind her, and whispered, "After a while, if they dare to let me jump onto the wooden dragon, order the others to collectively release the mist hidden technique to cover this place. I will take advantage of the heavy fog to rescue Mizuki-sama." Akihiro Kagura slowly tapped her arm. Second update. Please read on. Chapter 71. When did you think I was the real person? That female ninja, come up. A vine stretched down from the wooden dragon. The thick vine slowly fell in front of Terumi. Akihiro Kagura controlled the vine to bind Terumi and said loudly, "Don't resist, I won't hurt you, our goal is only Uchiha Obito." Terumi gritted her teeth, tapped her fingers slightly to form a hand seal, and let the vine bind her up, thinking that she could break free at any time. This is the lack of understanding of wood release. When the vine tied up Terumi, it suddenly began to retract rapidly, absorbing the chakra into Terumi-Mei's body. "No, my chakra." Terumi quickly felt a loss of chakra in her body. The woman wanted to release the ninjutsu to get rid of the bondage, but the vine's tightening force suddenly became tighter, as if it could kill her at a faster speed. "Aren't you here to negotiate?" Akihiro Kagura spoke nonchalantly, and once again took the initiative to remind, "Don't worry, we will definitely not hurt you." Madarumi's heart tightened. The key is that she plans to hurt them. Madarumi knew very well that she had no information about Uchiha Obito, she just wanted to take the opportunity to rescue the fourth Mizukage. Dissolving style, dissolving monster technique. Madarumi suddenly opened her mouth and spit out a stream of acid. This ball of acid was extremely corrosive, and it quickly corroded and broke the vines. Madarumi took advantage of the situation to break free from the restraints and shouted loudly, "Queen, do it." Water style, mist hiding technique. A group of mist ninjas quickly put their hands together to form seals at the same time, opened their mouths and spit out clouds of mist, instantly shrouding the entire area in mist. Boiling release, skillful mist technique. Madarumi, with the help of the diffused mist, spit out a mouthful of acidic mist in the direction of the fourth Mizukage Agura, quietly corroding the vines that bound him. The other mist ninjas also quickly attacked the wooden dragon. A group of mist ninjas quickly jumped onto the wooden dragon, as if they were ants trying to bite an elephant to death. They don't want to negotiate. Uchiha Itachi immediately entered combat mode. "Be careful. Someone is coming up." Hatake Kakashi drew his shuriken. "Tisk, I really underestimated her." Akihiro Kagura had been prepared for a long time, and her movements were faster than theirs. One by one, the vines quickly covered the wooden dragon's body, and a layer of scales like a fishing net was covered on the wooden dragon. The mist ninjas who climbed up one by one were bound by the vines. Baiyan, open. Queen, who had been standing on the ground to coordinate the battle, stared at the mist intently. One of his white eyes could see a figure moving in the mist. Back then, during the war between Kirigakure and Konoha, Kirigakure was lucky enough to get a usable Byakugan from a member of the Hyuga clan. This was the only Byakugan that Konoha's Hyuga clan had ever lost. Ao noticed the changes in the chakra on the wood dragon. He knew that the controller had to take other Kirigakure ninjas into consideration, so he urged other teams continue to attack, cover Terumi Jonin. Above the wood dragon, Terumi body nimbly dodged through the gaps and the vines, and finally jumped onto the top of the wood dragon, facing the enemies who caused this disaster. A white-haired man. Two black-haired boys. Judging from their ages, no one would believe that it was this team that caused such a big mess in the land of water, and even made the hidden mist village lose face. This doesn't look like they want to negotiate. Akihiro Kagura chuckled and looked at Hatake Kakashi. "Captain Kakashi, we want peace, but the hidden mist village doesn't want to resolve it peacefully." Hatake Kakashi was speechless. The behavior of the hidden mist village was too embarrassing. He was just thinking about negotiating with the hidden mist village and exchanging information about Uchiha Obito. As a result, the other party let them down and took advantage of their idea of negotiation to launch an attack. See. Akihara Kagura attacked the enemy's credibility. Our kindness to the enemy will always be taken advantage of by the enemy. When we go back, we must tell Danzo and the Sandame Hokage that the Hidden Mist village is a despicable ninja village and there is no way to communicate with them. This is not our intention. Madarumi interrupted Akihara Kagura quickly, shook her head and said, Konoha ninja, you have gone too far. We don't mind negotiating. Akihara Kagura also interrupted her and saw through her thoughts, but the premise of your negotiation is that we return the fourth Mizukage to you. The best condition for the negotiation is that you don't have to pay anything, and we have to agree to some conditions that are beneficial to you. Madarumi was speechless. Isn't this what everyone thinks during the negotiation? I doubt it. Akihara Kagura smiled, with a hint of sarcasm in her eyes. Even if I return the fourth Mizukage to you, can you hand over the information about Uchiha Obito? Of course. Terumi May nodded quickly, but smiled and changed the subject. We should talk about your invasion of the water country first. Now she just needs to delay time here and attract the attention of this team. Her boiling escape will be able to corrode the vines that hold the fourth Mizukage, Kiratachi Yagura. You're right. Akihara Kagura nodded slowly, and suddenly asked back, we invaded the water country, and then what? Do you have any opinions? Terumi May gritted her teeth and felt that her tense headstrings were about to break. This bastard, of course we have opinions. The Third Ninja World War has ended long ago. Terumi May forced herself to stay calm and continued, your invasion will cause a war between Konoha and the Hidden Mist village. We are just scouting. Hatake Kakashi couldn't go on. Even if a war breaks out, then what? Akihara Kagura tilted her head, and seemed to be a little confused and said, your strongest Mizukage is not my opponent. How can you be the opponent of our Konoha third Hokage? A lot of people will die in the war. Terumi May gritted her teeth, feeling that she could not delay any longer. She felt that she was going to be so angry at the kid's self-righteous tone that she wanted to fight on the spot. Konoha ninjas are not afraid of sacrifice. Akihara Kagura answered this question on behalf of Konoha village. Hatake Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi looked at each other. The two felt that something was wrong, but they felt that what Akihara Kagura said made sense. Konoha ninjas are indeed not afraid of sacrifice. Crack! The sound of a vine breaking suddenly caught their attention. The vines on the fourth Mizukage Yagura broke, and his body fell quickly from the dragon horn and was about to fall on the wooden dragon's head. Terumi May jumped up quickly. However, before she could jump into the air, two vines blocked her way, tied her body around the waist, and suddenly pulled her so hard that she could not resist. Bang! Madarumi's body instantly turned into a bowl of water. That's the water clone. Hatake Kakashi glanced around, somewhat amazed at the other party's speed, so fast. When did she use the water clone? It was very early, right? Madarumi's figure instantly appeared behind Akihara Kagura. Her wrist suddenly strangled Akihara Kagura's neck, and smiled and said, now, can you return the Mizukage to us? Of course not. As Akihara Kagura spoke, her body slowly turned into a big tree. Because when did you think I was the real body? The big tree grew rapidly, and the branches quickly tied up Madarumi's body, tying this powerful female ninja to the tree. First update. Chapter 72. When will Uchiha Obito return to Konoha? When will the fourth Mizukage return to Kurogakure? Is this a wood clone? Madarumi was somewhat surprised at the other party's wood clone ability. This is in my wood dragon technique. Akihara Kagura's real body appeared behind the tree and explained indifferently, when you tried to release the water clone to avoid the vines, I released the wood clone. No chakra flow here can hide from my perception. She has been stalling for time, just waiting for this moment, right? Akihara Kagura walked to the side of Madarumi and asked in surprise, but I guess that you might choose to kidnap the weakest among us, but I didn't expect you to kidnap the strongest. Hatake Kakashi's eyelids twitched. Has this kid already assumed that he is the strongest in this team? If we talk about actual combat power, this kid is not wrong. Uchiha Itachi never thought that he was the strongest, but his face was a little strange, because he knew that he was the weakest. Stop attacking. A voice suddenly came from the fog. Quing, who had been in charge of coordinating the battle, observed through his Byakugan that Madarumi was captured, and was so scared that he immediately ordered everyone to stop attacking. This attack was originally intended to cover up Madarumi, but Madarumi was captured, and continuing the attack would be useless, and would only increase casualties. The most troublesome thing was that Quing felt that they didn't have any strong people to show off. The most powerful 7 ninja swordsmen of the Hidden Mist Village defected one after another under the high-pressure policy. The younger generation has not yet grown up, and even if there are people, they may not be willing to come to rescue the 4th Mizukage. This Mizukage is too unpopular. To be honest, even this group of troops led by him to rescue the Mizukage, most of them had to follow orders, and there were many who hated the blood mist policy. Quinn gritted his teeth and told the ninjas beside him in a deep voice, "You go and report to Master Yuanchi that our attack is not going well. The opponent is a ninja from Konoha. I hope to negotiate with the enemy as long as we can rescue Master Mizukage and Master Terumi Mei." The implicit meaning of this sentence is that no matter what conditions the enemy puts forward, they'd better agree to them. Compared with other mist ninjas, Quinn's personality is extremely calm and he has a sense of propriety in doing things. When he encounters an enemy that he cannot defeat, he will choose to give in instead of making unnecessary sacrifices. Of course, this kind of thing is not something that a mere jonin like him can decide. Ninjas from Konoha. After Quinn arranged everything, he raised his head and shouted to Mu Long, "Please stop this meaningless battle for the time being. I have asked the elders in the village. No matter what the request is, we can discuss it as long as the safety of Master Mizukage and Jonin Terumi Mei can be guaranteed." Mu Long's head. Uchiha Itachi looked at the fog, then glanced at Terumi who was tied to the tree and the 4th Mizukage Agura who was hung up again, and asked curiously, "How did they know that this female ninja was captured by us? Is there such a powerful perception ninja in the Hidden Mist Village? Probably the Byakugan killer in the Hidden Mist Village." Hatake Kakashi began to popularize science for his 2 subordinates. The Golden Wanted poster in the village said that Ao, a senior ninja in the Hidden Mist Village, got a Byakugan that was missed by the Hyuga clan on the battlefield during the Third Shinobi World War. Can the Byakugan be lost? Uchiha Itachi took a deep breath. Uchiha Itachi knew some of the tricks of the Hyuga clan, which was also a bloodline ninja clan. The Hyuga clan's protection of the Byakugan was a bit crazy. The main Hyuga family uses a curse seal called the Caged Bird to protect the branch family's Byakugan from being leaked. Once a branch family member dies, the Byakugan will be damaged. This curse seal also allows the main family to completely control the branch family members, and even use the Hyuga branch family members as slaves. Anything can happen on the battlefield. Hatake Kakashi thought it was not surprising that such a thing happened. When he mentioned the Hyuga clan, he suddenly remembered something and a drop of cold sweat suddenly appeared on his forehead. Kagura Hatake Kakashi's face slowly turned cold. There was some unknown darkness in the eyes of this Konoha Anbu, but he didn't want to pass on this darkness from the upper echelons of the village. The last time Konoha and the Hidden Cloud Village had a conflict, the envoy of the Hidden Cloud Village tried to seize the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan, and the head of the Hyuga clan killed the intruder. The Hyuga clan, who clearly occupied the moral position, was forced by the village's high-level officials to hand over a body. What about this time? If the Hidden Mist Village asked Konoha to hand over Akihara Kagura, the 3rd Hokage at this time might not refuse this request, even if the Hidden Mist Village seemed to be very weak. However, the Hidden Mist Village is a large ninja village. As long as it can protect the stability of Konoha and maintain peace, everything can be sacrificed, no matter who it is, even a powerful wood-release ninja. As long as Konoha, which is now in internal and external troubles, does not have to face the threat of the Hidden Mist Village, the village's top leaders may not be willing to protect Akihara Kagura, and may even let Akihara Kagura sacrifice herself. Hatake Kakashi can't sit idly by and watch all this happen. This time they came out to perform the mission. Hatake Kakashi was somewhat grateful that Akihara Kagura took the initiative to help, otherwise he might have died at the hands of the 4th Mizukage this time. It's almost come to this. Hatake Kakashi shook his head and persuaded the little guy, "Kagura, we can't bring a dangerous tailed beast Jinchuriki back to Konoha. Maybe fate is reincarnation?" Last time, his teammate Nahara Rin had the 3 tails implanted in her body, and she died in his hands to avoid endangering Konoha. This time, Kakashi Hatake felt that he had reached the boundary of fate again. Is it dangerous? Akihara Kagura looked at the 4th Mizukage Agura Kiridochi, and couldn't help tilting his head. Even Uchiha Obito can control him, and even a chunin like me can catch him. Kakashi Hatake was a little stuck, and argued again, danger is not calculated like this. The tailed beast is a dangerous existence for the village after all. Then put him at the root of Danzo-sama. Akihara Kagura immediately found something for her boss to do. She had to do something for Danzo Shimura. Danzo-sama is so good at curse seals, he must have a way to deal with the Mizukage. Akihiro Kagura of course had her own considerations. If her boss Danzo Shimura couldn't solve this problem, then she could only let her subordinate solve it. Kakashi Hatake was a little at a loss. Madarumi, who had been tied to the tree, looked a little unhappy. Shimura Danzo's name is not well known in the upper echelons of the ninja world. He has been relying on the name of Konoha village to do all kinds of evil, and people can't do anything to him. Konoha's ninja. A voice suddenly came out of the mist. Quing, who had been coordinating the situation here, soon received an order from the master, allowing him to do whatever he wanted as long as he could rescue the 4th generation Mizukage Yagura. Quing shouted to Mu Long, "We agree to your request to enter the Hidden Mist village to look for the Konoha rebel ninja Uchiha Obito. As long as you make sure that there is no trace of Uchiha Obito in the Hidden Mist village, you can release Madarumi and Mizukage, right?" Okay, Hatake Kakashi wanted to agree loudly. "No," Akihiro Kagura interrupted Hatake Kakashi and said in a deep voice, "At this moment, there is no way we can catch Uchiha Obito. Why not take this opportunity to throw the problem to the Hidden Mist village and let them help us track down Uchiha Obito? Hey, listen up, people below." Akihiro Kagura's figure flashed, and she stepped on the top of the wooden dragon's head, and shouted to the mist, "When the Hidden Mist village catches Uchiha Obito and sends him back to Konoha, we will return the 4th Mizukage to them." Ao's forehead was covered with sweat. Who the hell is this bastard Uchiha Obito? Second update. Please collect. Please read. It will be on the shelf soon. Chapter 73, There is nothing shameful for a grown man. We can agree to this condition. Quing didn't think too much and simply agreed to this condition. The Hidden Mist village is one of the 5 major ninja villages in the ninja world. With the power of the Hidden Mist village, it would be easy to capture a Konoha rebel ninja. We will hand over the Konoha rebel ninja to Konoha. Quing asked another question, after the Mizukage arrives in Konoha, can you guarantee that Konoha will send the Mizukage back for a Konoha rebel ninja? Akihiro Kagura looked at Hatake Kakashi. He, a worker, definitely can't make the decision. Akihiro Kagura has never considered that the Hidden Mist village can catch Uchiha Obito. At most, he can cause some trouble for his boss. How can he catch him? Hatake Kakashi was silent for a while. After all, Hatake Kakashi is just a squad leader of the Ambu and can't make such a decision. The fate of a Mizukage can only be decided by the Konoha high-level officials. Uchiha Itachi can only stand by as a pendant. Well, we can't make the decision. Akihiro Kagura helplessly spread his hands and continued, "At least we won't stop you from taking this Mizukage back to Kurigakure. You can think of a way yourself. A mere Konoha rebel ninja and a Mizukage don't seem to have a proportional status. In this way, our deal is reasonable and fair, right?" Quing wanted to curse. "Okay, we accept it." Quing could only suppress the urge to curse in his heart and asked loudly again, "What about Terumi-me? Can we let her go? Just as a bonus for our acceptance of the conditions. Terumi-me is a powerful Jonin and an important force in the village to hunt down Uchiha Obito." Okay. Hatake Kakashi thought this matter was insignificant. Compared with the 4th generation Mizukage Yagura Kurodaji, Terumi-me is just an insignificant little character, and there is no need to argue with Kurigakure over this matter. What's more, Kurigakure has almost declared surrender, and even said that it would not send Uchiha Obito to Konoha in the future. And since their team could not decide on the conditions to send the 4th Mizukage Kuradachi Yagura back, Kakashi Hatake felt a little embarrassed. Can't we give it back to them for nothing? Akihiro Kagura thought for a while and suggested, at least we should exchange it for some money for ramen, right? I don't even have a coin in my pocket. I'm even poorer than that little guy Naruto. Do I have to ask Captain Kakashi to treat me when I return to the village? This Kakashi Hatake felt that it was a bit too much. How much do you want? Ao asked loudly with gritted teeth. Let's discuss it. Akihiro Kagura looked at Kakashi Hatake, and then at Itachi Uchiha. How much do you think is appropriate? I have never done such a thing. Kakashi Hatake and Itachi Uchiha looked at each other. Because neither of them had done such a thing. 300,000 taels. Kakashi Hatake was not very interested in this. This number is the generous reward for a mission above A level. Akihiro Kagura didn't expect the number to be so low, but she didn't want a higher number. She just made a suggestion, let's still ask for 320,000 ryo. After all, this money is divided among the 3 of us, and we always need a number that is just enough to divide. Hatake Kakashi couldn't help but look sideways, calculated in surprise, and asked, "Wait, is there something wrong with this number? 300,000 ryo is just enough for 3 people to divide equally, right?" Hatake Kakashi seemed to have thought of something, and his forward jumped and said, "You are not going to give 10,000 ryo to Itachi and me, and take 300,000 ryo for yourself. Distribute according to work. I have contributed the most. Distribute according to need. I am the poorest one. Distribute equally. You must be embarrassed, right?" The 3 reasons given by Akihara Kagura were quite sufficient, leaving Hatake Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi speechless. Quinn didn't expect that the appetite of this Konoha team was so small that they only wanted 320,000 ryo to release Madarumi, and he could pay the ransom himself. Quinn no longer thought these people were particularly hateful. They probably just wanted to capture Uchiha Obito, not to cause trouble for Kirigakure. This Konoha team reached 2 agreements with Kirigakure. First, Kirigakure was responsible for hunting down Uchiha Obito and returning him to Konoha, and they would find a way to get the Konoha high-level officials to agree to release the 4th Mizuka Jiagura. Second, Kirigakure paid 320,000 taels to redeem the senior ninja Darumi Mei, and the other Kirigakure ninjas that Akihara Kagura had captured were used as bonus. "You really made a fortune." When Akihara Kagura got the money, he said with a sigh, "Fortunately, you met someone as easy to talk to as me." Yes, Quinn could only nod repeatedly, suppressing his desire to hit people, and ask the most concerned thing, "When will you leave the land of water?" "Once I get the money, I'll leave." Akihara Kagura shook the money in his hand. Before leaving, the 4th Mizuka Jiagura wanted to explain something. Out of humanitarian considerations, Hatake Kakashi agreed to let the 4th Mizuka Jiagura Karuta talk to Madarumi for a while, and asked him to give some orders that sounded more like his last words. "I am a very evil person." The 4th Mizuka Jiagura Karuta was a little weak, and ordered in a low voice, "Don't think about saving me, it doesn't matter even if I die in Konoha." Mizuki-sama Madarumi felt a little uneasy. "Did you hear that?" Akihara Kagura stood by and translated, "Your Mizuki-sama wants to sacrifice himself in order not to drag you down. Can you bear to watch the Mizuki suffer in Konoha?" The 4th Mizuka Jiagura Karuta was so angry that he couldn't continue, but he had to insist on speaking, because this might be his last communication with the Hidden Mist village. "Let the village's master govern the village and let him cancel the Blood Mist policy." I formulated yes. Madarumi nodded and quickly jumped off the wooden dragon. For the Hidden Mist village, today is both a day of disaster and a day of rebirth, because the Blood Mist policy that shrouded the village like a haze is finally going to dissipate. Let's go too. Akihara Kagura is quite trustworthy. After getting the ransom, he released Madarumi and others. Their team returned to Konoha with the biggest specialty of the land of water. The team rushed to the seaside and left on a ship. When the 4th generation Mizuka Jiagura Karuta was pushed onto the ship, he seemed to see a familiar figure, a crew member with bandages wrapped around his neck. The 4th generation Mizuka Jiagura Karuta lowered his head carefully. He remembered the crew member with bandages wrapped around his neck and the lower half of his face. He seemed to be an Anbu ninja from the Hidden Mist village. If I remember correctly, it seems to be called Mamachizabuza. This person killed all the graduates of the same period with his own strength, which allowed the Hidden Mist village to end the Kurogu-raising training system. The Mizuka shook his head cautiously, signaling the other party not to risk saving him, fearing that any other Mist ninja would be in danger because of him. However, it was too late. Akihara Kagura seemed to see the other party, pointed at the crew member wrapped in bandages, and asked in surprise, "What's wrong with that person? What's there to be ashamed of for a grown man? Why does he like to cover his face like Captain Kakashi?" The first update. Please collect and read it. It will be available soon. Chapter 74, The Traitor Must Be Killed. Akihara Kagura spoke a little dirty. What's wrong with this kid? Men like to cover their faces. Can't it be because they are too handsome and don't want to attract other people's attention? Hatake Kakashi didn't bother to pay attention. He just followed the direction of Akihara Kagura's finger and saw a man with a bandage covering his face. Be careful. Hatake Kakashi subconsciously reminded him. Even if the man with the bandage only showed half of his face, he still couldn't hide the murderous intent in his eyebrows. He was an experienced killer. Have you been discovered? Zabuza Mamachi sneered, took off his disguise clothes nonchalantly, pulled out his ninja sword with his backhand, and continued in a cold voice, But it doesn't matter, anyway, I don't need any disguise when I kill people. Zabuza. The fourth Mizukage Yagura Karuta looked at Zabuza Mamachi and ordered in a deep voice, I order you as the Mizukage, don't come to rescue me, leave here immediately. Shut up. Stop making a fuss. Zabuza Mamachi glanced at the fourth Mizukage Yagura Karuta, and no longer concealed his disdain for the fourth Mizukage. Yagura Karuta, a Mizukage who was captured as a prisoner, has no right to issue orders to me. You. The fourth Mizukage Yagura Karuta felt that this guy didn't know how to appreciate good people. Ninjutsu, mist hidden technique. Zabuza Mamachi raised his finger suddenly. A cloud of mist suddenly rose on the deck, and Zabuza Mamachi's figure slowly disappeared in the mist, as if he was completely invisible. Tisk, the same trick again. Akihara Kagura shook his head and said slowly, this guy named Zabuza doesn't seem to be an easy person to deal with. I think let Captain Kakashi deal with him. I don't think I can be his opponent. Hatake Kakashi was speechless. What nonsense is this kid talking about? Can this Karigakure ninja be stronger than the fourth Mizukage, Akatsuki Yagura? You kid can even defeat the three tails in the sea, let alone an ordinary Karigakure ninja. Okay, you two protect yourselves. Hatake Kakashi reluctantly tore off his forward protector, revealing the three Magatama Sharingan. This is not an absolutely safe place for Wood Dragon. The opponent can launch a surprise attack at any time in this small space. The opponent's goal should be to rescue the Mizukage. Uchiha Itachi revealed his Sharingan, holding the ninja sword tightly in his hand, and moved to the side of the fourth Mizukage, Akatsuki, and looked at the mist vigilantly. Don't worry, Captain Kakashi, we will be careful and will not let the other side have the opportunity to rescue the Mizukage. Clang. A ninja sword slashed towards Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi used his ninja sword to block this sneak attack, and the sound of metal clashing was particularly crisp in the fog. Got you. Uchiha Itachi's eyes were fixed on the attacking Mamachi Zabuza, waving his ninja sword to meet it head-on, and he and Mamachi Zabuza clashed in a group. Sharingan Mamachi Zabuza waved his ninja sword to block Uchiha Itachi's attack, and snorted coldly, I'm still wondering, a mere Konoha kid, actually has such skilled swordsmanship. It turns out to be a ninja from the Uchiha clan. Mamachi Zabuza suddenly raised his ninja sword and slashed at Uchiha Itachi, slashing on Uchiha Itachi's ninja sword, and at the same time his body used the force to retreat again and disappeared in the fog. Zabuza Mamachi knew the essence of being an assassin. If he missed, he had to evacuate immediately. He must not continue to fight with Uchiha Itachi. You can't escape. 4 shurikens flashed from Uchiha Itachi's hands and were thrown in the direction where Zabuza Mamachi disappeared. After 3 missed sounds, there was a dull sound of hitting the target. Tick-tock. The sound of blood dripping on the ground was very obvious. Zabuza Mamachi hurriedly pulled out the shuriken that pierced his arm, pulled the bandage on his neck and quickly wrapped it around the wound, fearing that the wound would drip blood again. However, it was too late. Hatake Kakashi immediately determined the position of Zabuza Mamachi. Water style, water clone. Zabuza Mamachi instantly cast a water clone, which stayed in place as a bait to lure Hatake Kakashi, and his real body disappeared in the fog again. What a trouble Zabuza Mamachi felt. It was difficult to hide in the fog. Just the Uchiha clan brat alone made him feel difficult to deal with, and with the famous Hatake Kakashi, there was also a Konoha brat whose background was unknown. That brat should be the most troublesome wood-style ninja. But Mamachi Zabuza thought about his plan, and a hint of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. I don't need to be so cautious. My goal is not to rescue that waste Yagura. Water style, water clone. Mamachi Zabuza cast a water clone again. He was the only one fighting this battle alone, but he had to deal with 3 people. One water clone was used to attract Hatake Kakashi, and another water clone was used to attract the Uchiha Itachi brat. The next moment, the fog became thicker and thicker. Mamachi Zabuza's real body disappeared in the fog. This was the killing skill that Mamachi Zabuza had always relied on. He could perform high-speed fog instant body in the fog, which allowed him to appear and disappear in the fog and attack at will. The 4th generation Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, was still worried about Zabuza Mamachi's disobedience. He glanced at the vines on his body, and then at Uchiha Itachi and Akihara Kagura standing beside him. He knew that whatever Zabuza Mamachi did would be in vain. You must be worried about this guy called Zabuza Mamachi, right? Akihara Kagura looked at the 4th generation Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, and said with a smile, this guy is acting like he wants to save you even if he doesn't obey orders. You must be very touched, right? Let's make a deal. I can spare his life. What do you want? The fourth generation Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, was a little confused. Anything is fine. Preferably some unique ninjutsu. Akihara Kagura smiled, as if he couldn't be more kind. The Mizukage doesn't want to see a missed ninja who wants to save you so much, right? The fourth generation Mizukage, Yagura Karuta, nodded slowly. A flash of the knife passed by. Zabuza Mamachi appeared again. This guy used the water clone to attract the attention of Hatake Kakashi, and his real body appeared here, posing as if he would definitely rescue the fourth Mizukage from this team. Ling. Uchiha Itachi still blocked his attack flawlessly. Although Uchiha Itachi was only 10 years old, his proficiency in Sharingan and Uchiha-style swordsmanship made him an insurmountable line of defense. No, this force when Uchiha Itachi took this attack, his Sharingan stared at Mamachi Zabuza in front of him. This is a water clone. Uchiha Itachi turned his head and looked in the direction of the fourth Mizukage and Akihara Kagura. He could see the real body of Mamachi Zabuza approaching them. Be careful. Akihara Kagura stood beside the fourth Mizukage Yagura Kuridochi, drew out his ninja sword, and seemed to want to stand out to stop Mamachi Zabuza. Don't block the way. Mamachi Zabuza forced Akihara Kagura back with 3 or 2 swords. This brat's swordsmanship is so poor that he was easily repelled by himself. He can't be compared with Uchiha Itachi at all. Mamachi Zabuza was very close to the fourth Mizukage Yagura Karuta. This group of Konoha ninjas seemed to be worried that Yagura Karuta would explode, and even bound the Mizukage tightly with vines. In other words, Yagura Karuta has no possibility of resistance now. Mamachi Zabuza's breathing became heavier, and he actually raised his ninja sword and slashed at Yagura Karuta's throat. This guy actually wanted to kill his own Mizukage. The vines that had been binding Yagura Karuta grew instantly, wrapping up Yagura Karuta's body, so that Zabuza Mamachi's ninja sword could only cut on the vines. You want to assassinate the Mizukage? Akihara Kagura stood up, still in that slow look, trying to pretend to be shocked in her eyes. I just made a deal with the Mizukage. If you agree to spare your life, he will give me some unique ninjutsu. I don't know if your Mizukage will admit it and be willing to save a traitor. Second update. Finally someone is playing with me. Chapter 75, Understanding Zabuza, Learning from Zabuza. The deal is still valid. The voice of the fourth Mizukage Yagura Karuta came out, with some fatigue and pain in his voice. Don't kill Zabuza, I know why he wants to assassinate me. Who are you pretending to be tolerant and generous to see? Mamachi Zabuza pulled out his ninja sword from the vines, flew back and stood on the railing, and began to close his palms to form a hand seal, trying to break the defense of the vines with ninjutsu. Do you think this is the end? Mamachi Zabuza's fingers formed seals very quickly. Akihara Kagura looked at the pair of fingers that were almost flying, feeling a little dazzled, and sighed. How long will it take to form a seal? It should be the water dragon bullet technique. Uchiha Itachi solved Mamachi Zabuza's water clone and walked over here. The water dragon bullet technique has 44 hand seals. Water style, water dragon bullet technique. Mamachi Zabuza shouted, and a water dragon immediately emerged from the sea behind him, rushing towards Akihara Kagura and others. Trouble. Akihara Kagura raised her finger. A thick vine suddenly emerged from the deck, and directly wrapped around the neck of the water dragon, instantly crushing the neck of the water dragon. Water splashed everywhere. Taking advantage of the moment when the water splashed down, the vine suddenly stretched out, tied up Zabuza Mamachi's body, and began to absorb his chakra. Zabuza Mamachi's pupils suddenly widened. At this moment, Zabuza Mamachi couldn't believe his eyes. The water dragon bullet technique that was completed within 10 seconds was easily resolved by the opponent with a finger raised, and he was even easily captured by the opponent. Is it resolved? Just at this time, Hatake Kakashi resolved another water clone and walked over here. HMPH. Mamachi Zabuza snorted coldly, not caring about his own situation. Looking in the direction of the fourth Mizukage Karuta Yagura, he cursed in a deep voice, Karuta Yagura, this time you are just relying on Konoha's protection. The fourth Mizukage Karuta Yagura did not speak to defend himself. Kakashi Hatake asked curiously, I'm actually very curious, why would a Karigakure Anbu ninja want to assassinate the Mizukage? Because you want to end the Bloody Mist village. The fourth Mizukage Yagura Karuta sighed and continued, this is an unforgivable mistake I made to the village. It is only natural that I was assassinated by my own subordinates. If I had not been captured by the Konoha ninja this time, but was assassinated by Zabuza, It would have been a relief for the village. After the fourth Mizukaji Agura Kuruda finished speaking, he praised Zabuza Mamachi who assassinated him. Zabuza, you are a true hero to be able to take this step for the village. So why don't you just die obediently? Zabuza Mamachi looked down on him and cursed coldly. For the village, there can be no worse situation than your bloody mist policy. I can't commit suicide yet. The fourth Mizukaji Agura Kuruda shook his head. For him, suicide can bring relief, but it will cause dissatisfaction among the Konoha ninjas around him, and may even trigger a war between Konoha and the Hidden Mist village. Hatake Kakashi and others did not speak up to help explain. We can't say that Konoha's ninja Uchiha Obito controlled Yagura Kuradochi to implement the Blood Mist policy in the Hidden Mist village, right? Before Konoha finds Uchiha Obito, it is best not to let more people know the secret of this matter, so as not to cause greater hostility from the Hidden Mist village towards Konoha. It is one thing for Konoha ninjas to capture the Mizukage. It is another thing for Konoha ninjas to control the fourth Mizukage Agura Kuradochi to implement the Blood Mist policy in the Hidden Mist village that makes the Mist ninjas kill each other. This kind of thing can make the two ninja villages fight to the death. You go back. The fourth generation Mizukage Agura Kuruda stopped looking at Zabuza Mamachi and said softly, I have instructed the elders and masters of the village to lift the Blood Mist policy. Zabuza, you are a genius. Go back to the village and you will achieve greater success in the future. No need for your kindness. Zabuza Mamachi has always been unruly and continued coldly. Who knows if the village will return to its annoying appearance when you come back from Konoha in the future. Let him go. The fourth generation Mizukage Agura Kuruda stopped looking at Zabuza Mamachi. As early as when the illusion was lifted, the fourth generation Mizukage Agura Kuruda had already planned that when he was no longer important, he would give the answer with his own life. As for the three-tail in his body, even if he died in Konoha, the three-tail would be reborn in the land of water. There is no need to worry that the strategic weapon of the three-tail will fall into the hands of Konoha. See you again if there's a chance. Akihara Kagura loosened the vines that bound Zabuza Mamachi, and even reminded him in a friendly way, welcome to come again next time. I quite like to watch this kind of performance. The leader of a village chooses to surrender to the enemy in order to save his subordinates. Asshole. A flash of murderous intent flashed in Zabuza Mamachi's eyes. Just as this guy's body trembled violently and wanted to pounce on Akihara Kagura, a flash of lightning instantly calmed him down. A ball of lightning flashed on the fingertips of Hatake Kakashi, and he blocked Zabuza Mamachi tightly in front of him to prevent this guy from doing bad things impulsively. Mr. Mizukage has saved you. Don't let his sacrifice go to waste. Leave quickly. I will remember you. Before Zabuza Mamachi left, he looked at everyone present. This time, he lost to that would-release Bloodline Genkei ninja. After returning, he will find a way to collect Bloodline Genkei ninjas, and he will take revenge sooner or later. After the episode of Zabuza Mamachi, the future seems to be smoother. It is estimated that there are many people in the Hidden Mist village who want to assassinate the fourth Mizukage, but few dare to do so. Only Zabuza Mamachi has the courage to fight. That guy is really amazing. Hatake Kakashi understands the courage of Zabuza Mamachi. I've learned it. Akihara Kagura nodded repeatedly and said nonchalantly, in the future, if our third Hokage does anything inappropriate, I will assassinate the Hokage. I didn't ask you to learn this. A black line crossed Kakashi Hatake's forehead. You kid, don't always learn these messy things. Akihara Kagura is a person who is very willing to learn. He learned the spirit of resistance from Zabuza Mamachi and an interesting technique from the fourth Mizukage, Yagura Kuradochi. The fourth Mizukage Yagura Kuruda taught a harmless defensive spell. He certainly would not teach Akihara Kagura some spells that are harmful to the Kurigakure ninjas, such as Wind Style, Typhoon Passes, which is extremely restraining to the Kurigakure ninjas. System prompt, Ninja Professor, feature is activated, the host has water attribute chakra in the body, and the chakra amount has reached S level. The Water Style, Water Mirror Technique, being learned is in line with the theory of ninjutsu, and Water Style, Water Mirror Technique, has been successfully learned. System prompt, you have a new skill, Water Style, Water Mirror Technique, Water Style, Water Mirror Technique, use Water Style ninjutsu to create a mirror made of water. The mirror will reflect and copy a person who is exactly the same as the enemy, and can use the same spells as the opponent, and the power is the same. Note, Water Mirror Technique requires a huge amount of chakra, and the clone cannot be controlled. It will dissipate after one hit. This spell is good. It is very useful against some ninjas with strong physical skills, especially some troublesome close-range surprise ninjas. It just so happens that Akihara Kagura is not very good at close-range combat. Captain Kakashi, Kagura-kun. Uchiha Itachi took over Akihara Kagura's position of alert and shouted, "There is a ship following us all the time." The first update is getting closer and closer, but I am getting more and more panicked. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.